that time. Time for Stiles and Watkins.
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140. Find us on YouTube at Sactown Sports 1140.
It's time for Alan Stiles and Chris Watkins.
Yes. We are back. Just like Cam Newton said, Stiles and Watkins back for the first time. Back like we never left. And we got a lot to talk about. We got Simone behind the glass today holding it down. So you know we're going to have some good tunes. All right, a lot to talk about. The Kings losing, the Kings winning, the Niners destroying, and people getting fired. And also the Raiders. Should we play their games? Is CBS making the right moves? I never would have thought that the Raiders would catch a stray on a game where at the time when things started popping, they were actually winning. And, you know, my dad came up and we were hanging out, we were in Doco. And by the time it's a 7-minute drive from Doco to where I'm at, right? Where I'm living out here. And by the time I got home, it went from 14-0 to 14-14. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, but a lot to get into with it. Today, we have our guy, Emil Fergoso, at 11 to talk Niners, a lot of Kings talk, the in-season tournament. Does it matter now? Does it matter yet? And yes, we got to do it. Draymond Green, he's talking again just because water is wet and the sky is blue, and Draymond Green will continue to keep talking too. Chris, how was your break? You look refreshed.
Right.
You look ready to go.
Thank you.
And that's what I like to see.
Yeah, I feel both of those things. I was telling everybody last week I was heading down to Long Beach for Thanksgiving. Got in at a reasonable time yesterday, so didn't have to deal with any traffic. So yeah, I'm feeling refreshed. I took a nap yesterday during the opening games because there was just nothing good. I was in the car ride home and I opened up the NFL the red zone and I looked at the slate of games and I was like, I would much rather just sit here in silence for the next 4 hours than tune into these early morning games. And then like 20 minutes later, I cut them back on. But nonetheless, it was besides the slate of games, it was a great Thanksgiving weekend. And I'm glad to hear that you and your family enjoyed Sacramento for their first holiday.
Of course, it was great. Had everybody come up and enjoy themselves. Simone, did you have a good Thanksgiving holiday?
I did. It was wonderful. Good morning, everyone.
So did you end up ever going out the day before, or did you?
God, that was so long ago.
I know, that feels like
that was so long ago. No, I didn't do that Friendsgiving, the Wednesday. I didn't do anything.
You kept it chill.
No, it was chill.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Well,
I had a big early flight on Thursday morning.
Oh yeah,
and I've never flown for the holidays. I've always done the holidays here in Sacramento. So I was just toeing the line.
Well, I'm glad everybody got back and we are ready to rock and roll as we also talk about Sac State, who won their first round FCS playoffs. Jason Ross doing his thing as usual. And I know there was a little bit of, I guess, get back there because people were saying, well, UC Davis beat Sac State, then Sac State got in and UC Davis didn't. So Sac State had to go out there and prove that they meant to be there, and they take down North Dakota, who I know is always in the mix. So good on Sac State holding it down, Stingers up as always. And you're completely right, Chris. So again, we love pulling back the curtain here on Stiles and Watkins because on a day like today, when we sit down and do the rundown, there's so much to talk about. We don't know really where to start. We're very excited. We haven't seen each other, and because we spent a lot of time together. We hadn't seen each other in a couple of days. We don't know where to start. So I guess the best way to do this is chronologically.
Probably easiest.
And really to see the Kings, and we started off with what would have been a conversation about moral victories, I think, after the Kings lose to the Pelicans last week, and it looked good. We got to talk about Trey Lyles. The Trey Bays got to be feeling good. Come on now. Because Trey Lyles, I mean, we were talking about maybe overstating how big his contribution would be. We may have understated it the way he's been playing right now. And, we fired up the trade generator. I'm not saying you don't need to put it away, but Trey Lyles has come out like he has something to prove, and he said, hey, I really want to contribute to this team. But going back to that Kings-Pelicans game where he first showed up, what was your initial takeaway just from that game in general?
Yeah, no, that game in general was, I mean, obviously there was going to be a ton of eyes on it after they completely just crap the bed on Monday. And you know, Wednesday, I think was more about the effort that they were going to display more so than the actual result. I think, you know, a lot of people on Wednesday and Tuesday after that Monday game were saying, well, let's wait to see how they play on Wednesday to overall determine how we're going to view these two New Orleans games. And, you know, they did lose them both, but I think the fact that they came out in that second game and showed a lot better effort. I mean, there was a period in that game, if I remember correctly, where the Pelicans had a pretty substantial lead, and then Trey Lyles entering in that fourth quarter, they went on a huge run, brought that game closer, and then, you know, inevitably the Pelicans did get the result, but the Kings fought, and that's really the main thing that just I couldn't get over from Monday was after those two Houston games, I couldn't believe that they went out again and showed such little effort. And so, you know, again, I thought in that first Pelicans game, there was a lot of signs of real problems, not just the fact that they weren't giving effort, but they didn't have anyone to stop Zion. They didn't have anyone to stop Brandon Ingram. I think those problems still ended up being real things on Wednesday, which is ultimately why they didn't win. But I would say the result was better. And so looking back on the road trip now from all the way out of it, Kings go 4-2. It would have been nice if they could have picked up one of those two Pelican games, obviously. But, you know, before the road trip even started, we were having conversations of 3-3 is probably baseline successful. Yeah. Going 4-2 is definitely an accomplishment for that road trip. So right. I'll take it. Even though, those two games against New Orleans, you know, you would have hoped that one of those would have gone in the Kings' favor.
And it's funny because we sit here and, you know, not to say that we're always going to predict things correctly. I did have 4-2. You wanted to have 4-2, but hey, let's just be a little bit optimistic
they
here.
Should have gone 5-1.
Yes, I also had them losing to the Lakers, and they smacked the Lakers. So, I mean, for the Kings, so much happened to go 4-2 on that road trip with the back-to-back in that mix with some just great wins. You beat LeBron and AD, nationally televised game. You end it then by going on and beating the T-Wolves, and you know you're missing Keegan. So you're every time they do something, we're sitting here saying best win of the year, best win of the year. We continue to have that conversation. Now sometimes we keep on having the conversation of worst loss of the year, but on the flip side, to do what they did against the Pelicans, to show out and to say, hey, you know, we're not going down like some punks, okay? And we're going to come out and we're going to give it our all. And then after that, you got Treys in a row. I mean, that was ridiculous. And then after that, to go on and beat the Red Hot Timberwolves, first L at home for the T-Wolves, and now they hold their destiny in their hands. And, of course, who's it against? The Warriors. So I guess – well, whenever we tease, we like to come through with the tease. So Dave had asked us before his show ended, is Draymond Green good for the league? Yeah. And the easy answer here is yes.
I think so.
Right? Yeah, is there anybody who truly thinks Draymond isn't good for the league?
For the league in total, yeah. Like there's like, even if you don't like his antics, even if you think he's too much, even if you think he's just a role player who's way overrated and is only – part of conversation because he's got all these rings, undeniably he brings your attention and clearly drives out emotion from the league. And that's always like good publicity, bad publicity. Yes. It's all the same. I think Draymond is like the perfect embodiment of that. It doesn't really matter why you're talking about him. The point is that you're talking about him and he's at the forefront of conversation. And that's going to make you watch, even if it is hate watch, because as we all know, 50% of the people who watch you are going to love your stuff and 50% of the people are going to hate watch you. Right. And that's what Draymond thrives on. And I don't even see how he could be like, if he really does, like, the chokehold wasn't great, but if he starts turning like actively violent, sure, that's a different conversation. But right now, I mean, Draymond's pretty much as good of a sports villain as you can have right now.
He knows how to tote the line. I think there are definitely people specifically with the Sacramento Kings fan base that say he's gone over the line.
You got to go over the line,
though.
Sometimes
there's different versions of going over the line, though, right? So Draymond going over the line, is anybody's life in danger? I don't think so, right? And I've watched the compilation. It's everywhere. And he's tackling people. There's groin shots. There's a lot of things. But actually, hey, man, this guy could really, when people are in the air, I would say the Dylan Brooks thing with GP2 was maybe more egregious than, honestly, anything that Draymond has done. Yeah, I would say, in terms of like, GP2 could have really been, he's in the air, right? Yeah. Draymond will hold on to you before you get in the air, which is a flagrant in a different way. But I do think he's very, now the sternum stomp, I think, was definitely
not great. No, I mean,
that one,
it's not saying the actions
you could argue that
one,
right? Because you could have, I mean, Draymond's a big boy. You could crack a rib doing something like that. So he definitely has crossed it, right? But to your point, sometimes you do have to cross it. And now we have sound from Draymond. We'll get into that as well. But to answer our guy Dave's question, definitely good for the league. And I think the league needs more of it. Yeah. As we talked to Emil Fergoso, because I know it's technically still week 12 in the NFL. Yeah. So it's not Eagles week yet. But for the Niners, week 11. But it is Eagles week. Yes. It's the last week for Frank Reich because that dude got canned. We'll talk about how quickly triggers get pulled, and if it's almost too quick with the hook for some of these coaches, how much leash should you give them? But the Eagles, when the Eagles play all day long, all I hear, or everything, the NFL is helping out the Eagles again. The refs are helping out the Eagles again, over and over again. So we'll talk about just why the NFL would be doing that. I just want to hear from people because everybody has things to say. Mm-hmm. But you are now hate watching the Eagles the same way you used to hate watch the Cowboys, and you still hate watch the Cowboys. Yep. And now, in terms of Draymond and Dylan Brooks, somebody had to take the mantle away from LeBron, because to me, he lost his villain streak when he went back to Cleveland. After he went back to Cleveland, there was a new sheriff in town because the Warriors were coming up. Yep. And Draymond hadn't even that 2016 when the 3-1, I think that was when LeBron stopped being a villain. Yeah. And even in
that's when
Draymond,
Lakers, that's actually the transfer of power right there. Exactly. I mean, Draymond kicks him, and then it turns from.
Don't forget, on the way, Draymond had kicked Steven Adams in that same play. So he was kicking everybody right on the way, and then then LeBron steps over him. So there has to be villains. You have to watch with emotion. If you don't watch, and that's the problem with Major League Baseball right now. Exactly. You got nobody. Nope. You got nobody. So got to get to a break. When we get back, a lot to talk about the Raiders. The decision. Carmichael Dave was complaining. People were complaining. Oh, I got red zone, but I'm still going to complain about this. I got Sunday ticket, but I'm still going to complain. Do the Raiders still reign true in the Bay Area, or should we be playing other games that kind of sort of connect to the Niners in Week 11? Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Can Mike Brown build on last season's Coach of the Year award? Can the Kings exceed 48 wins?
We will be better prepared to make the run that we expect to run come next playoff.
Tune into every Kings game this season on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
Don't you just love this time of year and the holidays when families get together to make memories? Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. From the time I was a youngster, the family table was always filled with a gathering of grandparents, aunts and uncles, brothers and sisters. Those are memories that will live with me forever. Naturewood Home Furnishings Holiday Home Sale going on right now gives you the opportunity to find the perfect holiday gift that will last a lifetime. You'll find unique gifts like gleaming accessories for every room, now 20% off. During Naturewood's Holiday Home Sale, you'll find savings all around the store for every room in your home. Find your perfect bit of Christmas for your home at Naturewood Home Furnishings Holiday Home Sale going on right now. The memories you make with your family will be with you forever. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water bridge.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports. We are back from a nice break. I hope everybody enjoyed their holiday, and it's the holiday season now. I don't know if your Christmas music is rocking yet. Chris, is your Christmas music rocking?
Not yet, but I do love Christmas music. My girlfriend's not a fan, so
oh man,
yeah, it's
how you work through that.
I just don't play it. I mean, I can live without it, but I enjoy it. Like it does. It
I
makes
see
me
you
happy.
in a
like
corner.
Yeah, you just got the
with your
AirPods.
on, just rocking out to Mariah Carey. Simone, I don't even gotta ask. I know you like Christmas music. I can just tell.
Yeah, I like it.
You don't have to downplay it.
I'm unorthodox. I like Die Hard as my Christmas movie.
Sure.
We always go through this, but yeah, I'm unorthodox.
So then,
but
what's your
I
favorite
appreciate
Christmas
it.
song?
Off top, I want to go with like Santa Baby. I like getting
It's
things.
not unorthodox.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting.
no, that checks out to me.
Christmas in Harlem. Or
Yeah,
something
right.
Friday.
No.
Terrible
I take it
song.
back. DMX.
Oh, and we will
Red
get
Nose
to that.
Reindeer.
Once we get to December. That might be how we kick off December, but we will get to that. We will also get to Emil Fergoso at 11, Sactown Sports 49ers Insider, to talk about Niners, Eagles, and Niners taking care of business against the Seahawks, the battle of the turkey leg. The Niners got their turkey back, they got their lick back, and they got their turkey back, as well as we talk about the Niners and also get to the Raiders. So Rod Brooks, who does the pre and post for NBC Sports Bay Area, he's a longtime guy, been in the radio industry, but longtime Bay Area kind of media guy. This was his tweet from yesterday. Hey, at CBS Sports, stop being lazy and pandering to the few remaining Raider fans in the Bay Area by continuing to show Raider games. They don't matter, in all caps. Bills Eagles is significantly more important to fans in Northern California. So there was a lot of back and forth on this. This opened a can of worms. I initially thought things were just kind of based on where you are, your area, right? Your location. And then somebody said, or somebody, tagged me and said, hey, actually, CBS has not shown all Raider games. So this was a cognizant choice by CBS to play this game over Bills Eagles. And I have a lot of thoughts. I know you have a lot of thoughts. If you, the listeners, have a lot of thoughts as well, 916-339-1140, because there are still a lot of Raider fans out here, number one. And number two, I just found it funny to choose this game, right? Number one, the timing of it was funny because I'm pretty sure when he posted it, I think the Raiders were winning even 7-0 to 14 or 14-0. That's number one. And number two, there are so many other games with the Raiders to complain about. Yes. This one is funny to me because you have two of the biggest stars in the NFL right now in Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes going up against a rival. Now, people were hitting me up. Is it a rival if you haven't won? If Alabama, and they just played, Auburn wasn't even ranked. Right. Everybody was watching Alabama, Auburn. Okay, so I don't want to hear that. So to me, it was a funny time to have that take. Whether it's a valid take or not, it depends on who you ask. That's number one. And number two, my issue with it is, besides just buy Sunday ticket, right? Or literally just buy Sunday ticket and there's problem solved. My other issue is, we're talking about this. I know that the Niners have an eye on the Eagles, but it's week 11. Yep. It's the same. Yes, it's your same conference, right? It's the, NFC, you're in the NFC, but we're not even talking about the Seahawks in a race with the Seahawks. We're not even talking about your division, and it's week 11. I get that it was a really good game, ends up going, and you got to watch overtime, so stop complaining because the game was over. So to me, it was just awkward timing, and I'm going to take it there, Chris. In a year where Oakland A's fans have had a rough go, you lost the Warriors, which a lot of people don't even discuss, right?
Because they stayed in the Bay Area.
They stayed in the Bay, right? But they stopped wearing those town jerseys. I'll tell you that much. They only wear San Francisco jerseys now. So you lost the Warriors, you lost the Raiders, now you lost the A's, and it just felt like punching down a bit, because it's just like, look, you Niner fans, you guys are all feeling good. Cut the check, watch NFL Sunday ticket. And Carmichael Dave, he was complaining about it as well. Niner fan. I get where you're coming from in terms of, yes, it was the better game. Yeah, for sure. It was just a funny time to complain about it, because Raiders Chiefs in the line of stinkers isn't even close to some of the stinkers that they could have been playing. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that it's just dismissive to all the Raider fans that are still here. Like, the Raider fans didn't leave. They all still stayed here. They love the team here in Sacramento. They don't care that it's over in Nevada or in Vegas now. Like, it's all the same to them. And I understand why Niner fans would be upset. And,
you could argue maybe they do have a fair argument. Like that Bills-Eagles game is an incredible game, and of course more people would want to see it, but at the end of the day, it's a business. And CBS is thinking, okay, I'm going to put this in the market. There's still a ton of people who care about the Raiders there because, again, the fans didn't leave, the team did. So there's still the interest there. Plus you get the Chiefs, so you get casual observers who are going to tune it. And it's a divisional rival.
Right.
Like, so again, for everybody who's still liking the Raiders in the area, you still are going to care about that rivalry. It shouldn't be, maybe in 10 years or something when the Raiders move and when the Raiders move is more distant and not the same amount of people care, maybe it makes a lot more sense to just kind of rip off the Band-Aid at that point. But, I think at this point, CBS probably just views it as, we're going to get tons of viewers there, and let's just bank that in instead of taking a risk. And there's going to be Niner fans who are interested in that and just general NFL fans who are interested, but it doesn't guarantee that same number that probably Raiders and Chiefs get.
All the games that happened yesterday, I would imagine that Chiefs-Raiders game did not do nearly as poorly as a lot of people that were talking smack yesterday would like to believe. I don't think it will. That's number one. And number two, I just think it's a bit of a moot point. Because why in the world would if you got because where we're headed is, okay, we're always going to give you the best games, right?
Those are always going
to be prime time.
Always
the
national
NFL
television.
has to make money. They are making money off Sunday Ticket.
Yeah.
Why would I buy Sunday Ticket, right? No. To be honest, you know who loses money whenever they buy Sunday Ticket? Cowboys fans. Why would a Cowboys fan buy Sunday Ticket? You're on prime time every other week.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So you really don't have to. So if they played every great game during a slot where everybody is able to watch it, why would anybody pay for Sunday Ticket?
It's a fantastic point because this is not ESPN Plus. That's the ESPN Plus business model is, hey, you want to watch Sac State against North Dakota? Well, guess what? We don't have it on ESPN proper, but we've got all those extras. So if you want to watch extra games or games that might not be, come over to ESPN Plus. That's not what NFL Sunday Ticket is about. NFL Sunday Ticket is if you want to watch the best games, if you want to see everything and not just things we give you, you got it makes all the sense from the marketing perspective.
Come on,
well.
people.
It's just like you got to, sometimes I know you hate to hear it, but sometimes it literally just comes down to the money and it makes a lot of sense. And again, of course, maybe it's the more intriguing national game and maybe even, casual non-Raider fans or non-Niner fans.
And everybody wants the Eagles to lose.
Would want to see that
tuning
game,
in to watch the Eagles lose.
No, I'm sorry, but it just, like you said, I would say that this Raiders specific game is the Raiders Chiefs game is not the specific one to point out.
First of all, people are actually forgetting that the Raiders are still in the hunt. They're barely in the hunt, but they're still in the hunt.
In it.
So we're acting like the Raiders have 2 wins here, and then you have the Chiefs. Chris, I would even the way people were reacting yesterday was as if it was Week 18, right? And if the Eagles win, the Niners get the 2 seed. Right. If the Eagles, that's a different argument. If we're having this conversation in Week 18,
a clinching situation,
and you're playing a team, the Chiefs have already clinched their division, and they're playing the lowly Raiders who are out of the mix, right? Last week of the season, I completely agree with everybody.
Yeah,
but it's Week 11.
12. It is week 12. You were right the first time.
It's Week 12. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
What are we talking about? 916-339-1140 from the 707. What's up, guys? Andre from Napa. My question is talking about the regional map for broadcasting for CBS. Literally, the whole western half of the country was watching the Kansas City and Raiders game, not just Northern California. Go. Yeah, so that was a decision they made. It's Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce going up against a Raider team who are silly. The victory cigars and, still invigorated, feeling good with Antonio Pierce. So it was just a weird time to have that take. Have the Raiders, have the Raiders play the Bucks or something and complain about that.
Also, or be upset about, can't they flex games? I thought starting last week, they could have started flexing games, if I'm not mistaken, in those primetime spots. Like, we just saw at the time, what were they, 4-6 or 4-7 Chargers? They were playing last night against the Ravens. Maybe move that game over to a earlier time slot and put the Chiefs put the Eagles game on primetime. I don't know if that's exactly how it works, but there's ways that there's ways they could have gotten around.
No, of course. And the last thing I'll say is I know it was different because for whatever reason Fox had Denver and Cleveland, that was the funniest thing to me. There's a turf war going on CBS because of, oh, should the Raiders be playing? Meanwhile, you know that Homelander meme from The Boys where he's just like, oh, no one's coming down my road. But meanwhile, it's Denver and Cleveland on Fox, and nobody is complaining about that. Why is that game on? Why is that game on? No. And I get, I don't know how all the purchasing works of the different networks and things like that, but there should have been more people upset about that game because that game literally has no pull out here. We got to get to a break. When we get back, we'll talk about who impressed you the most over Thanksgiving. You got Sac State, you got the Kings, you got the Niners, or other. Maybe a high school team balled out for you. Let us know. 916-339-1140. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour every week with Frank LaRosa on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Winter's coming, so let's kick off the cold season right and get your heater all tuned up. Now just $79. No matter how cold it gets outside, you'll always be warm and toasty inside. Plumbing, sewer, electrical, heating, and air, Bonnie.com.
This time of year, big box tool stores start to sell a whole bunch of not tools, from dancing Santas to plastic trees. At Northern Tool and Equipment, we'd rather sell you a 4-horsepower chainsaw fitted with a full chisel chain to cut down your own tree. And we have wood chippers come January, because mulch. We're cutting prices on your favorite brands this holiday season. Save on Milwaukee, Ingersoll Rand, and Metaltech in-store or at northerntool.com.
When you switch to Boost Mobile, you can get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G and a pretty powerful way to get after it.
Like me, Tusi, a man who fell in love with music and fell on hard times. From writing songs in my room to sitting on top of the charts. All because I made poetry out of pain. And I always knew I'd be on the stage singing your favorite song.
Switch to Boost and get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone on America's largest 5G networks.
Boost Mobile. Get after it.
New customers only. Taxes extra. One device per line. 5G not available everywhere. Other restrictions apply.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
Get year-end pricing during Happy Honda Days at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on our entire selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Ridgeline Civics, and Accords. Plus, with low finance and lease options, now's the time to buy. Hurry in and save during Happy Honda Days at Folsom Lake Honda, or go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you find the right customers. Spread awareness of your product or services. We can help build trust in your brand and services with a digital marketing campaign. Increase leads and get more customers. We create tailored digital marketing campaigns that deliver results. Don't wait. Get started today. Contact aimyourdigital.com. That's aimyourdigital.com and start seeing results.
For 35 years, TruckSmart has been your local leader in truck accessories. Find racks, toolboxes, and lighting for your work truck, and trailer hitches, side steps, and bed covers for recreation. They have shells for work or play, and offer Rhino lining, the best bed protection in the business. You like overlanding? TruckSmart has rooftop tents, recovery gear, and heavy-duty bumpers. Trust your ride to their skilled installers and expert sales staff at the Rockland and Auburn locations. TruckSmart. Your truck's gonna love them. Trucksmart.com.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Ball is spotted. The kick is away. And the kick is... It's goalable time! He is amazing. He is amazing.
They just do not want to go away. Jake Elliott. Oh, my goodness.
Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports, taking up to 2 p.m. That was incredible. I mean, I think we're all sitting there, or you were probably still in the car watching it, and nobody was at 59 yards.
It was ridiculous.
And nobody thought that.
In the rain.
And he hadn't missed in that situation, about 50 or more in a tying or game-winning situation, and he drilled it because that thing started low. I'm thinking that's a doinker. Yeah. Or I don't even know if it's going to even make it. Right. So that was incredible. And I hate to use actually I do love my overused sports terms, but you hate to use the term team of destiny. But the way the Eagles have won some of these games have been ridiculous.
It's gross.
And I think on the flip side of that, they've been playing with fire a lot.
Yeah.
And sure. I got ties out there. We had Chase Sr. on before the break, who covers the Eagles and the Niners. He's also from the Philadelphia area for Chat Sports. And I got some ties out there from my days at T for Temple U. And my buddies are already hitting the group chat, Brock Purdy could never, and all these things about Jalen Hurts. I said, I'll tell you what, y'all better not go down 2 scores against the Niners.
Yep.
Okay. You cannot. The Bills, look at that record. And your record is who it says you are, right? And the Bills, that's a mess. The teams that the Chiefs aren't, but the Chiefs have had some issues here. Do not think that you can go down to, and maybe I'm wrong, but do not think you can go down 2 scores against the Niners. I don't trust that defense. I don't trust the secondary for the Eagles. I know Darius Slay's pretty good, but I don't think they have any answer for the physicality of Debo and the physicality of really George Kittle. I think that Brandon Ayuk might have some issues because he's very, he is your typical very good, but he is the most traditional wide receiver. I think the Eagles can game plan for him the best. Debo, you can't game plan for.
No.
You can game plan for McCaffrey, but I think it's the fact that you have 4 guys you have to worry about. And what we've seen with the Eagles offensively, Jalen Hurts had 33 yards after the first half. You can't do that. You cannot do that against the Niners. You can't. They will make it hurt. And I just feel as much as they have that great tandem, don't forget that the Eagles, these tight ends have had a rough go. The Eagles missing Dallas Goedert, so they've been trying to work around that, And what I've seen with the Eagles is, honestly, A.J. Brown is turning into a touchdown threat, a red zone threat, and a decoy, right? Devontae Smith is getting off because A.J. Brown is just being bracketed and being locked up. So I think the Niners do the same thing. And I don't know. I think with the Niners and that front seven that they have, I know there were a couple times during the losing streak where some teams were able to run the football. I don't see DeAndre Swift being able to do what he's been doing. And the weapons are great, but I feel like they're going to be able to shut down Swift. They're going to be able to shut down A.J. Brown. And that just leaves, okay, Devontae Smith, you're going to go Heisman and beat us by yourself?
Right.
There's just no way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely seems like it's the type of game where, like you said, if the Niners can get up by, if they get the ball first and they score on their first drive and then stop the Eagles and can get another score, that's where that game really starts to head in the Niners' direction. The problem is if that game remains close, if it becomes a 1-score game and the Niners just can never get their offense going, that's where it lends itself to the Eagles doing what they've done for it feels like all season long, and just essentially wait their time for that one big play to Devontae Smith to kind of open the door for them to win the game. It feels like the Eagles team this year is like the Eagles don't have to play perfect to win, but you have to play perfect against the Eagles to win, which is maybe it's a positive for the Eagles in the sense of they haven't even shown us all their best performance and still are 10-1 now. But it does make you feel like there is opportunity to open that game up if you can force the Eagles. If you can, first off, I think obviously first and foremost for the Niners, we've seen they're a much different team when they have the lead. First and foremost, get the lead, but then if you can continue to force the Eagles to just look sloppy, force turnovers, I think that's the biggest thing that's kept Eagles in the game is the fact that they end up becoming even, if not winning, the turnover battle. And the one game they've lost to the Jets was the game where Jalen Hurts throws three interceptions and Zach Wilson is able to beat them. So I think if Zach Wilson has been able to beat the Eagles, granted that's their one loss of the year, but if you've watched the Eagles enough times this season, they leave more than enough opportunity for those games to be stolen. The Niners just have to capitalize. And frankly, that's what a team of the Niners caliber should be able to do that other teams can't, is capitalize in moments that are opportunistic. And the Niners, with all of their weapons, should definitely be able to do it. It's just a matter of facing all of the adversity and meeting that challenge. And that's obviously really tough, especially when the biggest adversity of it all might be they're playing in Philadelphia as well.
Yeah. And, we've had conversations about home field advantage, how much it matters. I think the Niners are going to embrace it.
Sure,
I think they're going to embrace.
They're going to get a lot of hate at that stadium.
Oh, yeah. And I think they're ready for it. Hassan Reddick, we'll get into his quote a little bit later in the show. But if you look at the teams where the Eagles have played with fire, all those teams are missing something, right?
Yeah.
The Chiefs. The Chiefs should have beat the Eagles, but Marquez Valdes-Scantling is not a number 1 or number 2 or, dare I say, number 3 wide receiver. And he got butterfingers and he dropped the ball.
Yep.
Now let's go to the Bills. The Bills, Gabe Davis, a guy who hasn't been able to put it together. Him and Josh Allen, a guy who's had an up and down year for as great as he played yesterday at the end where they could have won the game, miscommunication. The Niners, they don't have those holes, right?
Yep.
So even if it's a close game, the Eagles have tried to trick it off. They play a hot potato. Here, you take the win. And teams have just said, no, you take it. And they've given it right back to the Eagles. And I should say that the Eagles took it, but there were opportunities. So with that being said, who has impressed you the most, or who impressed you the most over the break? The Kings, Niners, or Sac State? Stingers up. Stingers up.
Great win. That feels like an honorable mention. I'd shout out Sac State, but I feel like their real test is this week when they play South Dakota. So we'll wait another week on Sac State. But I mean, it's tough to not be incredibly impressed by the Niners. Like their performance against the Eagles was just an absolute domination.
Yeah.
Like that game was over by halftime, and the way they did it. I don't think the Seahawks really were ever a legitimate threat to the Niners. I don't think anyone ever put them in the same category. But the Eagles or the Seahawks have been able.
Bird. It's actually I saw this thing. It's a bird stretch for the Niners because they have the Seahawks, Eagles, Cardinals, then Ravens.
Oh my!
So it's a bunch of birds.
Too many birds for the birds. So I think the Niners just showed the class in which they are, and if they're going to continue to just string together good wins here, I think that it's been a really, really good bounce back after those 3 straight losses. Like for them to collect themselves after the bye and beat a Jacksonville team that was really good at the time. And, the Bucs have been okay, or at least scrappy throughout this season. I think it's been a good recovery for the Niners, and the fact that they just destroyed their division rival. I was really impressed by them. Just it's kind of what we've expected, but I think just the dominant fashion in which they did it was, I mean, it didn't help or didn't hurt also that the other Thursday games were absolute trash.
Yeah. And right. I mean, the Cowboys were in this part of the cycle with the Cowboys where they're beating up on a bunch of bad teams. So people will believe in the Cowboys again. I'm actually going to go with the Kings simply because I didn't believe in the Seahawks. The Seahawks were basically the bootleg Eagles, where they were winning a bunch of close games that they really shouldn't have been winning that close. And but instead of doing it against the Chiefs and the Bills, they were doing it against the Rams and the Cardinals and teams that aren't very good. I think if you were a Seahawks fan, this might be good for you because now Pete Carroll and Seahawks brass can say, okay, there are levels to this.
Sobering expectations.
Geno was a nice story, and hey, shout out to Geno. They wrote me off. I didn't write back though. Shout out to Geno for making something of his career in a capacity of a starter, but that's over now. I don't know what they do. Obviously, the Cardinals would never deal Kyler Murray in division, but you got to go somewhere because it's not just Geno, but you got weapons. You know you have weapons. It's everything else, right? You got the defense is young. Defense is going to improve, but Geno, you can't take that many sacks. It's a good run. They have to move forward. So I wasn't as high on the Seahawks. And even though the Niners, they got their revenge from all those Thanksgivings ago and they got to eat the turkey leg, good for them. I'm going to go Kings, though, because the Kings, after getting their doors blown off to the Pelicans, how would you react? You don't have Keegan Murray. You're banged up yourself. Trey Lyles, what are we going to get from you? Immediate impact, even though they lost to the Pelicans, and then coming back and beating the red-hot T-Wolves. And everybody had said, these are the teams that bother the Kings, athletic and long. Well, the T-Wolves were both, and they did not have problems with them. Got to get to a break. When we get back, we are breaking down more of the Kings and a stat that is just a little bit bizarre and what to make of it. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
What's the latest with the San Francisco 49ers? Carmichael, Dave, and Jason Ross keep you up to date on all things red and gold during the Niners at 9 every weekday at 9 a.m. on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Timing is everything, and this marks the beginning of the most wonderful time of the year, California, when families come together, traditions come alive, and so does the Black Friday Sell-a-thon at your California Ford dealers, where the best deals on the entire Ford lineup of trucks and SUVs continue all weekend long, like the built Ford Tough F-150, part of F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 46 years and counting. The adventure-ready Ford Bronco Sport with GOAT modes to help you conquer the great outdoors. Or the electrifying Ford Mustang Mach-E with 0 to 60 thrills and 0 emissions. It all starts at your California Ford dealer. Kick off the holiday season with exclusive offers on your favorite Ford vehicles. And now's the best time to find the perfect Ford for you. The Black Friday Sell-a-thon is on at your California Ford dealer. Don't wait, this is your time. The Black Friday Sell-a-thon ends November 27th, based on 1977 to 2022 CY total sales.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave asking you, are you feeling the pain of paying more and more for your gas? PG&E has increased their rates 4 times in the last 5 years, and the new forecast says PG&E customers may see their bills increase 32% by 2026. The good thing is there are steps you can take to protect yourself from these rate hikes, and better yet, American Energy may be able to help you completely eliminate your gas bill with a new ultra-high efficiency comfort system. Did you know SMUD offers huge rebates to eliminate your old gas guzzler? They can help you guide through the whole process. Seriously, listen to me. You go to the SMUD website. There's tons of rebates available, but it is confusing on how to do it. Listen to these rebates. $2,500 from American Energy, $3,500 from SMUD, $1,000 from Caltech, $2,000 home system upgrades. That's $9,000 in rebates. Let American Energy help you out at 916-520-9990.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
2 of the best the NFL and NFC has to offer meet Sunday in Philadelphia.
Purdy out of the shotgun, looks left, throws end zone. Caught! George Kittle in the back of the end zone.
It's the Philadelphia Eagles, owners of the top spot in the NFC, versus the San Francisco 49ers, who have had this game circled on their calendar for months. Join Greg Papa and Tim Ryan for all the exciting action Sunday at 1 on your home for 49ers football, Sactown Sports. Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports, taking up to 2 p.m. We will be joined by Emil Fergoso, Sactown Sports 49ers Insider at 11 to talk all things Niners, Seahawks, Niners, Eagles, Niners versus the Birds. It's for the Birds. But right now, we want to get into some Kings stats and facts. And Chris, you found an interesting one that we were trying to figure out what to do with it. And as we break it down, maybe as we talk it out, we can get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, shout out our very own Frankie Cardicelli, who I think was the first person I saw mention this immediately after that New Orleans game on Friday or on Wednesday. And I saw it and I was like, I'm not really sure what to do with that. And it's actually kind of similar to last week I recognized that the Seahawks kind of had an interesting who they've beaten and who they've lost to. They've lost to the Rams twice already. But the Kings obviously are now 9-6 after that game on Friday against the Timberwolves. And the Kings have only lost, those 6 losses have came from 3 teams. The Kings have lost to the fewest opponents of any team in the NBA so far this season, if we want to call that a stat. That's a cherry pick stat for you. But the Kings have lost 2 to the Warriors, 2 to the Rockets, and 2 to the Pelicans, and have beaten everybody else, including Dallas, including teams like Minnesota, including, OKC, Cleveland. Like, they've got some really good wins on their resume. They just also have back-to-back, or not back-to-back losses, I guess back-to-back losses in 2 of those cases, but have multiple losses to teams that, are in the playoff. I would say in the playoff hunt.
Yeah.
So I'm just not quite sure what to do with it. I'm not quite sure if it means something. I don't know if it's just a cute little cherry pick stat or what, but it definitely doesn't bode well for a playoff series. That's for sure. I mean, if you're playing teams back-to-back opportunities, or at least twice in a truncated amount of time, and you can't figure out adjustments to win the second game, I mean, that's exactly what playoff series are about. So little concerning.
Yeah, a little concerning. It's also obviously not to directly compare it to playoff games, because that first one against the Pelicans was after a back-to-back, so that wouldn't happen in the playoffs. But it is a little concerning. Now you look at the Houston Rockets, you didn't have De'Aaron Fox, and you would hope that you would have De'Aaron in a playoff series. Yeah, I don't know what to do with it as we joke about certain stats with Brock Purdy and the air yards before 2 p.m. on a Sunday and under pressure, right? So I don't want to read too much into it, but it does feel like when a team has the Kings number so far, they haven't been able to overcome it. I think it means even more if they lose to the Warriors tomorrow night, because that's 3 times now. And you don't want these teams, you don't want it to stack up, right? So, okay, well, the Warriors have our number, and hopefully we just don't have to face the Warriors, right? But then it's like, okay, the Pelicans kind of have our number, and hopefully we don't have to play them. At some point, you're going to have to beat some of these teams that have had your number. And I know the Rockets have regressed a little bit, but same to them as well. Yeah, I wouldn't put anything on Mike Brown or the coaching staff yet. Yeah. As far as being able to make different changes and adjustments, because both those games against the Warriors were competitive, and they were missing De'Aaron Fox. Second one without De'Aaron. Yeah, the first one was no Draymond for the Warriors.
Did De'Aaron play in that first? He did play in that first New Orleans game. So 2 of those games didn't have De'Aaron in it, correct? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you're talking about out of the games
Houston
they lost.
He didn't play either. So they're 3-3, I guess.
Right.
With and without De'Aaron.
So I'm not doing too much with it, but I will say that, I think everybody is not okay, but I feel like everybody understands that there might be more things in play here when facing the Warriors.
Right.
So that one I think is different. I'm not really I'm still
you don't see a common link.
No, I'm still more so worried about the Warriors if I'm a Kings fan than the Rockets. Just throw it out, burn the tape.
Yeah, that's
Pelicans maybe, but again, who knows what the heck the Pelicans. Because I saw actually 2 games later who wasn't playing Zion Williamson. So that is just a flash in the pan to me until it's not. But the Warriors thing to me, and that's why as Dave
starts to get concerning,
was leaving the studio and Dave was saying, this is a big deal to me, right, for the Warriors to get this done. And I think a lot of people, I felt like this the first 2 games, right? Not as much against the Warriors the second time because there was no De'Aaron. But this one, I think and I'm going to keep saying it, mentally, it would be nice for the Kings to get a W here.
You got to get over that hurdle.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, this is now 3 straight losses to the Warriors, including that playoffs, if you don't want to count preseason as well. So you're right. Like, you kind of want to get that mental hurdle out of the way. You don't want to lose 4 straight to this team. You don't want to, go through everything that the Kings have gone through since they last played Golden State and still feel like, okay, maybe we haven't really progressed or learned any lessons along the way. And it feels like the Kings and the Warriors are so evenly matched, or even if you don't believe they truly are, it feels like that head-to-head is at such a stalemate right now that you just want the Kings to to get over that hump and get the win, because they should realistically, if those teams play 10 times, it feels like they should go 5-5, not have the Warriors go, win 6 in a row or anything like that. So it feels like it's the Kings' time to win. And if they don't win this game, they don't really play them again until the end of the season. You don't have that opportunity to truly just kind of check some things off. You want this season to feel different than last year. You don't want it to feel like you're doing the same thing or in the same spots. You want to feel like you're better. And I feel like this can be like an emotional, okay, let's beat the Warriors. Let's win this in-season group. And then we'll move on to that, see what happens. But the season almost really starts after this. And I think it's one of those games where, the thing Dave brought up is this a must win? Spiritually, I guess it's not a must win, because they can still make the in-season tournament. They obviously can still have success this season if they don't beat Golden State, but it does feel like a real opportunity for them to make a statement, not only to the Warriors, not only to the NBA, but also to the fan base and to the Kings themselves, that this year is different. And we have learned through this little rough patch, or whatever you want to call this, this stretch that they've gone through of a roller coaster here, that they're on another side of it. So I would like to see them. I kind of want to see them handle the Warriors too. I don't feel like it's not handle as in like 25 plus, but of course get the W. But like I want it to feel like that Minnesota game on Friday.
Yeah,
like it feels like they should be capable of that.
I think that's the most frustrating thing, right? We talked earlier in the show about primetime games and, the Raiders playing versus the Eagles, Bills, and the Warriors are always on. And we talked about hate watching. I know y'all out here in Sacramento 1,000%. Hate watch the Warriors. And I think that is the most frustrating thing, because the Warriors saying this isn't a rivalry is not true, because they definitely always put their best foot forward. The Warriors are always on primetime. We just saw them, and they, the Spurs aren't very good, but they beat the Spurs and Wembanyama. I think was that the game that was spelled Wembanyama. They spelled his name wrong, right?
Was that on Friday?
And he was not happy about that, and he shouldn't be. But you see the Warriors play against these teams, and they're not that good.
Mm-hmm.
They're sleepwalking. Klay Thompson is his twin brother, Clank Thompson. Andrew Wiggins just doesn't feel like being out there. He just feels like he'd rather be doing something else. Draymond ain't playing. He's doing something. And then it's Steph to the rescue, maybe towards the end. And that's how a lot of these games have gone. They have problems with rotations. Oh, we should be playing the younger guys more.
Right.
Moody and Kuminga have been better than Klay and Wiggins, but Kerr continues to play them. And then they come down to Sacramento, or Sacramento goes down to the Bay, and all of a sudden they're
back to 2018.
They're back to 2018, 2022 even rolling, and they're completely locked in. I think that is the most frustrating thing for Kings fans. And then for you to say, or Warriors fans, whoever, to say it's not a rivalry. You watch their team every day.
Right.
You can tell that there's more juice when they play the Kings than when they're playing some of these other teams where they're not even winning these games. They couldn't even – the Thunder, they can't beat these teams, but there is a different level when the Kings are in town or when they come to Sacramento. And I think the one thing I would be worried about, and I don't know if worried is the right word here, but it's the fact that the Kings kind of know that, and just the Kings pressing. And I think what we saw was maybe that game one was more pressing, and it just turned into the De'Aaron Fox show. Game two, the Kings felt like, hey, we're playing with house money, right? We're playing with house money, and we're just going to go out there and play our game. We don't have De'Aaron. And then basically you really had an opportunity to win till the end. This is probably the first opportunity since that first time they played the Warriors where this is a game where there's, whether you care about the in-season tournament or not, there's something on the line.
Exactly.
You control your destiny for the second time in as many as 6 months against this team from about an hour and a half away, same place.
Yep.
So what are you going to do? I think that there's going to be a different vibe, whether fans want to admit it or not, especially when you think about that second game in San Francisco where hey, we're just out here playing.
Right.
We shouldn't even be in this game. And then you got to play loose like that again.
Yeah, no, I think you hit it right on the head there. But with the reason why you want to beat them so bad also is that mentality that you're trying to break. You don't want, like you said, the Warriors play differently against every other team in the NBA. But against the Kings, they almost feel like, okay, this is our get right opportunity. We know these guys.
Right.
We own these guys.
This is our palate cleanser.
They like to get up for, like, they're going to give us a good game, but in turn, like, it fuels us as well. And you want to eliminate those feelings. You want Golden State to feel uneasy. It shouldn't feel like, this is almost like a second home for us, which I frankly do feel like Golden State is going to come in here tomorrow and they're going to feel like, oh yeah, I remember these locker, like, this is, Draymond said it, we're going to play the audio later, but it is a little bit like a Game 7 Part 2. It's, of course, not nearly the implications, not nearly the amount of stress that goes into a Game 7. But like you said, this is for in-season tournament clinching. Like, there are some things on the line that make this a little bit more than a regular season game. So I want to see the Kings take the Warriors' best punch and want the Warriors to feel good heading into that game, so that when the Kings, or if the Kings can beat them, eliminating some of that good feeling that the Warriors clearly have when they play the Kings, and especially when they go into that building. Because I know Steph views Golden One Center as part of his building.
Oh yeah. You got to get the incense going. Yeah. And I'll give you this. Most recently, Steve Kerr just released a quote about the in-season tournament and veterans.
Oh boy.
Okay, it is a really important quote that I want to read when we get back, but we do have to take a quick Kings break as we get to Emil Fergoso. We're going to talk some Niners, and don't worry, we're going to talk Niners, and right after that, we're back to Kings, we're back to Warriors, we are back to the Steve Kerr quote. We'll see if it reigns true when the Warriors come to town tomorrow night. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The inaugural NBA in-season tournament group play stage is almost complete. The runway to Vegas is narrowing, and the teams that can qualify is shrinking. The Sacramento Kings control their own destiny, but standing in their way a familiar foe, the Golden State Warriors.
It's simple. Win and the Kings go on to the knockout stage. Listen to every thrilling moment Tuesday at 7 on your home of the Kings, Sactown Sports and the Sactown Sports app.
Yep, 'tis the season. Hi, if you're like me, you take pride in your gift giving. Well, I've got a terrific idea for you. Gift cards from the Good Feet store. Okay, so arch supports aren't exactly what they've been hinting for, but you know they'd love them. And with the Good Feet lifetime warranty, it's a gift they'll enjoy forever. Buy a Good Feet gift card now, and Good Feet will boost its value 20%. That's a 20% gift free from the Good Feet store. If you have someone on your list who's on their feet all day, has sore feet, knee, hip, or back pain, or even plantar fasciitis, maybe needs an energy boost, or just wants to maintain their active lifestyle, a Good Feet Arch Support gift card could be the perfect gift.
The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
This is Jeff Scott. Did you know there's a way to outsmart COVID if you get it? Now, there are medicines that can treat COVID whether or not you've been vaccinated, which is great news, especially if you're over 50. If taken in the first 5 days of having symptoms, COVID medicines can help stop the illness from getting serious. Call a healthcare provider or the statewide COVID hotline at 833-422-4255 to learn more about COVID medicines. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Family-owned Mercedes-Benz of Stockton invites you to take advantage of
a special certified pre-owned Mercedes finance rate of 3.39% APR for up to 36 months on select 2020, 2021, and 2022 models. This makes buying a pre-owned Mercedes-Benz a great way to turn a humdrum holiday season into a ho, look what Santa got me holiday season. Your best holiday gift ever awaits you at Mercedes-Benz of Stockton, mbofstockton.com.
Guys, your testosterone level impacts your energy, drive, weight, hair loss, and even ED. Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your T level for free. For your free T level check, exam, and consultation, call 916-277-8599 or visit revivemenshealth.com.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
No look, Bibby to Weber, down the lane, flying jam. There's your play of the night right there. It's inside to Sabonis, a two-hand rip, a brilliant pass from De'Aaron Fox.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sactown Sports.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. Joined by our one and only Emil Fergoso, Sactown Sports 49ers insider. Emil, how are you doing? How was your vacay?
It was really chill. I didn't really do much, just watch football. There's only a few Sundays in the season because I cover football that I get to actually enjoy football as a fan, and it was an enjoyable one yesterday, even though the first few hours was a bunch of poop vecta games.
Yeah,
terrible.
Yeah,
just terrible quarterback play. Maybe Tom was right.
Were you? Well, yeah, we'll get into that as well. So, real quick, where were you at with? And I don't know if you saw the turf wars yesterday about the Raiders game being played instead of Eagles Bills. Did you see that?
I did.
What were your thoughts on that?
It's the local market dumb things they did. Put on the good games.
So you're against having Chiefs Raiders on yesterday?
Yeah, especially when it's a blowout. At the end,
but it wasn't a blowout until the end.
I get it, but for Northern California especially, the more important game is Philadelphia Buffalo. That's just a more important game.
I think that's a broad statement, though.
It is, though. You can't look at the Raiders and be like, yeah, that's the more important game.
To me. Number one, we're acting like the Raiders have one win. Technically, the Raiders should have won yet. They could still be in the hunt going into it.
And a hope and a prayer they make the postseason. Who would have thought?
But they were 5-6. They weren't right. We're not talking about a one-win team. It's just funny to me that this game and this time was when people were so up in arms. And it's not like it's the Seahawks. Right? It's not like it's the Seahawks in your division. We're talking about the Eagles in week 12.
Yeah. No, I get it. But I also would prefer them to move Eagles-Niners to the primetime game.
And that's what Chris was saying. That's a better – to me, that's a more realistic conversation than getting on Raiders fans. We've already had a rough go. You lost the A's.
You're talking to one. You're talking to a Raider fan. I still didn't want to watch that game. And I didn't watch that game.
A Raider fan would not say that. I don't know. We got to pull your fan card.
We always lose the Chiefs. We always lose the Chiefs.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not worth watching that game.
I don't know about that. All right, let's get to, I guess, your non-fan team, the Niners. And, not too much to talk about with the Seahawks here. It was a shellacking. They ate turkey legs. And they did what I thought that they would do against the Seahawks because I'm not very high on the Seahawks.
Yeah.
I know the week isn't over. Week 12 isn't over. But it's Eagles week now. Yes. Hassan Reddick already talking that trash. We got that quote as well. A lot of conversations about the Eagles and I guess the luck. My question to you, when you look at some of the penalties that the Eagles are getting away with and all these close games and people dropping passes, does it feel like the Niners fan base is maybe underestimating the Eagles?
No, I think they're optimistically confident.
Okay.
That they can avenge what happened in the championship game, and that Brock Purdy won't get hurt again, and they can at least have a competitive game against Philadelphia. I do think Philadelphia is probably their toughest task this season. There's a reason why they are 10-1. They just find a way to win these games. They're kind of the antithesis of the Niners. They win all the gritty, grimy games, whereas the Niners, they blow everybody out.
Yeah.
And when they have the gritty, grimy games, they lose them.
Yeah.
It's opposite for the Eagles. They can't blow teams out. They have to come back from behind. They have to have some hurdle they got to overcome. And that's fine. They win their games. And that's why I think this is going to be a real big test this week of which side is going to win out. Who's going to be more physical? Who's going to really claw and scratch their way? Is it going to be the Niners going in and getting up early, or will the Eagles come back and establish their dominance? Because we do know the Eagles, when they like to be physical and have that tush push, they use it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, just in general, how do you feel about we were just talking before the mics turned on about the MVP conversation.
Yeah.
How do you feel how that's just shaking out in general? It feels like Jalen Hurts every week is, just bolstering his MVP case while not having, otherworldly stats. I mean, he's getting the touchdowns, which I guess is the leading reason why. And of course, his team is incredibly successful. But just what have been your thoughts on the MVP conversation? And do you feel like anyone's kind of being left out?
Look, in terms of Jalen Hurts, he should have won it last year. So this feels like kind of a makeup for him this year.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts was fantastic. He's also the first quarterback to have 10-plus rushing touchdowns in 3 consecutive seasons in NFL history. That's significant. He's an incredible, talented quarterback. And he's a winner, and that's kind of where they're at right now. Is Philadelphia is not losing games. But who's being left out of the conversation? With the Niners especially, Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy. Both those guys. Because you just look at the stats, you look at Brock Purdy's stats, they're similar to all these guys, Mahomes and Hurts and all of them. He's throwing it really, really well. It's just that it's the whole operation of he has McCaffrey, Ayuk, Debo. That's why he gets short-sighted, and because he's the last pick in the draft, he's not going to get. I know you've talked about this, Alan, about how it's not good for business to have a guy like Brock Purdy to win it. It's more fun for them to have Jalen and the comeback story and all that stuff. So I do think those guys are being left off, but I think Jalen Hurts is the front runner right now because of how well the Eagles are playing.
What would McCaffrey have to do to get into, like, at the end of the season? What would his numbers have to look like, you think?
By the way, what I've seen so far, McCaffrey, the most updated I saw going into yesterday, McCaffrey was 6th in MVP odds, and Brock Purdy was 9th.
And it makes sense. McCaffrey is night and day, probably their most valuable player, just in terms of all-around offensive scheme. What he does, again, 25 touchdowns in 20 games played for the Niners is just ridiculous. Just ridiculous numbers. A guy who previously in Carolina had issues staying on the field, now has not missed a game for the Niners since he joined them. It's incredible what he's able to do, and the bumping and bruising. I don't know if you guys saw Olivia Culpo's Instagram story after the game. That dude was beat up. I mean, my goodness. But no, McCaffrey is a special talent. What would have to happen for him, just looking at his stats, his best year came in 2019 with Carolina, where he had almost 2,400 yards in scrimmage. He had to break that, in my opinion, for him to really have a chance at MVP. And that's just a number that's almost impossible to even fathom.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at the Eagles and they've had some injuries, obviously right now the Niners are 2.5 point favorites, right? Which is a little bit surprising.
On the road in Philadelphia.
How nervous should, I guess, Niner fans be about the Eagles? Because I'll be honest with you, when I look at this Niners team and I see the weapons that they have, which is part of the reason Brock Purdy isn't as high up as some people would like. I like Darius Slay. I like some of the guys that the Eagles have, but the Eagles have won games against teams that have obvious holes. Josh Allen and the Bills have not been on the same page. That ended up happening in the end zone with Gabe Davis. The Chiefs, right? Their receivers, they don't have a number 1. I don't even know if they have a number 2 wide receiver, right? That came back to bite them in the butt. The Niners, okay, you're going to lock down McCaffrey, you're going to stack the box, and you're going to take away Ayuk. You still got to deal with Debo. You still got to deal with George Kittle. I'll be honest with you, Emil, and I'm not trying to be a homer here. I don't know how the Niners don't win this football game.
Wow.
I really don't, unless it's rainy and mucky and
which
ugly.
It might be again. I've heard some weather reports already.
When I look at these two teams from what I've seen, we still haven't played our best ball. Well, Eagles, when are you going to do it? It ain't going to be, I don't think it's going to be against the Niners, because they're the best team you've probably played all season.
Yeah, they probably are. And I will flip it a little bit and say, I don't think the Niners win this game.
Wow. Okay.
I think they're kind of the Freddy Krueger of the Niners right now. Until I see it happen, I'm not going to believe it, because this is the team that haunts them. Both personnel as well as the fan base of we got to get this back. We got to win this game. Yes, they had that big win over Seattle. They got their lick back first time since 2014. They won on Thanksgiving against their rivals. But now it's a different thing. And if Lane Johnson, who didn't play in the game against Buffalo, if he is day-to-day and healthy and ready to go against them week 13, it's just going to be tough to stop them. They always lose in the game of trenches against the Eagles because their offensive line is so talented. And the Niners offensive line is decent, especially with Trent Williams there, but it's not on the level of the Eagles. And I think that's going to be a problem because you're going to have to keep George Kittle in to protect against guys like Hassan Reddick and guys like Jordan Davis and all.
You don't want Charlie Werner blocking Hassan Reddick?
No, I don't. We saw what happened last time. I love you, Charlie. Love you, Dwelly. Love you guys. You're awesome. But respectfully, Hassan Reddick's a different beast, and we saw that against NFC Championship game. I think it'll be a much closer game than it was in the championship, obviously. But I do think the Eagles, and I said it yesterday on Twitter, I said they just find a way to win. It doesn't matter how they do it. They just find a way to win. But the Niners don't do that.
But we were just talking about Warriors Kings. That's different. The Kings have lost to the Warriors fully loaded, not fully loaded. The Niners literally did not have their quarterback. So to me, it's a different type of bugaboo than, they mentally got us. We can't get over the hump. The Niners thinking we never even played you with our real squad. That's what the Niners are feeling like. So that's why, I don't know. That's why I'm just confident that the Niners are going to take care of business.
And maybe so. Maybe I'm eating crow on next Monday, and I hope that's true because I want to see them get this monkey off their back. Because if they get this monkey off their back, there's no stopping them.
Parade.
This is kind of
Santa Clara.
I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say there's still the rest of the season, but for the rest of the regular season, this is kind of their big game of like, can we go on the run after this? They kind of need this game to establish it. And I know Philly winning against Buffalo does not make this a winner take all in the NFC race, but it still allows them to have the bragging rights over Philadelphia going into the postseason, whether that's the 1 seed or the 2 seed. So they do need this game. I just have to see it with my own eyes first how they're going to do it.
You talk about the battle in the trenches and how, the Eagles have dominated that battle and had ended up winning the games because of it.
Yeah.
But you look at the Niners since the bye week, they have 15 sacks in the last 3 weeks. Obviously, the defensive line and getting to the quarterback is a huge part of the Niners' defensive success. Do you think the Niners, with all that they've invested into that defensive line, is it good enough to get to the quarterback enough to make Jalen Hurts struggle on Sunday? And if they don't, what does that say about how they've tried to build out that defense? Is that if it doesn't work against the Eagles, have they kind of allocated all of these assets to the defensive line when maybe they shouldn't have, if that makes sense? Because overall, if you're spending so much on the defensive line and that awesome, incredible defensive line still isn't good enough to get it done against the team that you have to beat to get over the hump. Well, then what were you doing when it comes to team building, if that makes sense?
No, it does. And that's the real question, is building strength on strength for the Niners. Their whole strength and the bread and butter of the defense is getting to the quarterback. And I think they will at least get 2 sacks against Jalen Hurts. But the problem is that the Niners have struggled against mobile quarterbacks for the last 3 years. They just always struggle. Whenever quarterbacks are able to extend plays and use their legs to extend it, they kind of fold a little bit, especially on the back end. They lax on their coverage. They let guys get open. You saw that big Devonta Smith catch last year. It happens. And so I do think that Jalen Hurts' ability to extend plays and be mobile and make the most out of a bad situation is going to be what kind of tips the scale a little bit.
Gotcha.
But again, if the Niners get home, it could be a whole different game.
That's Emil Fergoso, Sactown Sports 49ers Insider. Emil, thank you for joining us as always. We will talk to you next week and see if we're celebrating a Niners win or not.
We'll see.
All right, you got to get to a break. When we get back, it's Draymond time. He's talking about the atmosphere for tomorrow's game and whether or not he regrets putting Rudy Gobert in a chokehold. I'll let you guess that one. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
2 of the best the NFL and NFC has to offer meet Sunday in Philadelphia.
Purdy out of the shotgun, looks left, throws end zone. Ha! George Kittle in the back of the end zone.
It's the Philadelphia Eagles, owners of the top spot in the NFC, versus the San Francisco 49ers, who have had this game circled on their calendar for months. Join Greg Papa and Tim Ryan for all the exciting action Sunday at 1 on your home for 49ers football. Sactown Sports.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Sactown Sports is home to the Kings, Niners, and now the business of sports. Hosted by Kelly Brothers and brought to you by Cap Trust, offering customized, independent financial advice at captrust.com. Join Kelly Brothers, Carmichael, Dave, and Jason as they look at the business of sports every Thursday at 7:40 a.m. You want to know how sports really work? Follow the money with Kelly Brothers from Cap Trust on Sactown Sports.
Midday, it's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports. Thank you to Emil Fergoso for stopping by as we break down Niners, Eagles. It is Eagles week. I know Niner fans are looking forward to that. It's a huge week, actually, and I think Carmichael Dave had a post about it because you have Warriors, Kings tomorrow night. You have Cowboys, Seahawks, which is just, good for a Thursday game. I'll take it. And then Saturday you have, is it all the college championships? ACC, SEC. You have Alabama, Georgia. Alabama, that crazy pass, by the way, on 4th and 10 or whatever it was.
36, I think it was like 4th and 35.
Yeah, it was insane. No, it was
something crazy.
4th and goal. It was crazy. That was fun. So Saturday we'll have a lot for you as well. And then, of course, Sunday you have Niners, Eagles. So just a fully loaded sports slate, and it's already starting, Chris. It's Warriors week here, it's not a whole week because they play Tuesday, but it's Warriors week here on Sactown Sports. 916, the number 916-339-1140, and it's already coming in from the 925 rivalry ? A one-sided rivalry. It's good for NorCal. Keep talking.
Okay.
It's Warriors week here. It's Warriors week.
I just can't believe that they're still trying to act like they don't care about us more than other
That's
teams.
The funny thing. You texting in 925 to a Sacramento station that talks Kings is you admitting that it is a rivalry. Yeah. I don't think you're checking in to the New Orleans Pelicans flagship.
Definitely not.
Or
the Lakers.
And texting in or the Lakers. It is a rivalry. Like we said, Alabama, Auburn. Alabama was 8. Okay, Auburn wasn't even ranked at 5 and 6 or something like that. It was still rocking. I don't get the rivalry has to be a back and forth winning thing. To me, I never understood
it's
that.
It's about the people in the town, right? Like it's about, I think they're like North Dakota and North Dakota State or South Dakota and South, like I'm sure those are one-sided rivalries, but they still consider it a rivalry because they're close. Like it's how it happens. It's, nobody. It's more about the fact that you go to work every day and you run into Warrior fans and you get to talk trash to them back and forth. And the Warrior side of the rivalry is they get to act like it's not a rivalry and they get to sun you.
Part of
that
it
doesn't make it any less of a rivalry. It still makes it into something that clearly has elevated or escalated feelings and emotions heading into the game. I think it's as clear and simple as that. If there is some sort of added importance that's not just a surface level or a in-season tournament adding importance to, I think that's a rivalry. And to me, this is definitely a rivalry.
Here's a question for any of you double agents out there listening. Okay, you Warrior fans, you double agent Warrior fans that are listening. The question is this, okay? When the Warriors are playing, really anyone besides, I will maybe put the Lakers there, but when the Warriors are, let's say you have something that you could be doing tomorrow night, and maybe your daughter has not a recital, but practice, right? And one of you got to take the daughter, right? Maybe you got ballet practice or soccer practice or something like that. The Warriors got the Pelicans. You know what, sweetie? It's okay. I'll take her in.
Not that big of a deal.
Warriors have the Mavericks. You know what, honey? I'll take her in. It's okay. I guarantee you.
Yep.
You guys are flipping a coin or rock, paper, scissors to see who has to take your daughter to soccer or ballet practice tomorrow night because it's the Kings.
Yeah.
So just stop it.
Yes.
It's ridiculous now. It's ridiculous.
I don't know what's. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you.
It's not a rivalry.
I think that they're just like they still think like they're, I mean, rightfully so. They're only a couple years removed from competing deep into playoff series, but they still feel like there's teams that are, of a different class that they view more as their peers when, it's just, I don't know. To me, it's incredibly clear and obvious. And the fact that they keep trying to say they're not, to me, feels like you're trying to deny.
It's a troll job.
It's a troll job.
It's
like
a troll job.
You're just lying to yourself.
Yeah, and I think location plays a huge part of this.
That's all of it.
Right? I mean,
that's really all
the
of
question with the Grizzlies, I mean, they were not only just talking about they were calling themselves a dynasty, a lot of different things. That because it's just randomly Memphis, that needed legs to keep going. You needed more charcoal. You needed more flame to the fire, right? Or it's going to go away.
Exactly.
You all know somebody, whether you're a double agent, whether you're a Kings fan listening right now, Sactown Sports, Stiles and Watkins, you all know somebody that's a Kings fan.
Mm-hmm.
You all know somebody that's a Warriors fan. And that adds to it because it's all about bragging rights. Your local high school, the crosstown rivalry, whether that team is trash, right? It's still a rivalry because if they ever do beat you, they're going to have bragging rights because you all know people that go to that school. You could have went to that school, but you live on the other side of the district, right? That's all it is. So, Simone, let's get to this sound on Draymond talking about the atmosphere for tomorrow's game.
A lot of fun. I think it'll be a lot like Game 7. The atmosphere, just people, the excitement, the angst. I think the feeling that I am expecting is that it'll feel like a Game 7. Can never be so certain until you get in the game and actually feel the environment. Because some people, you go into something thinking like, oh, it's going to be this thing, and like, people react to things differently. You never know how somebody's going to react to something. Like, some people get nervous and they get quiet. Some people get nervous and they start yelling. Like, so I think people react to things differently, and you can never be so certain. But what I expect it to be a very fun environment to play in.
Would he be saying that if they were playing the Oklahoma City Thunder? Would they be saying that's what I'm like? Would he be saying, I expect a Game 7 environment in Minnesota?
No.
Because
this is not because of the in-season tournament.
No, it's not. It's because of the fact that these teams have now it might be short, but there is a history of this team. They've now played each other. I can't even do the math, but
a lot.
12 times in the last 25 games or something insane like that. This clearly means more. And Draymond clearly is also expecting this to mean more than just your run-of-the-mill game. And I also expect, I don't think it's going to be a Game 7, like I said earlier, but I think it's going to be very, very high energy to start that game. I think you're going to see as close to a playoff atmosphere as you're going to get in the NBA in general.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to get it leading into that game on Tuesday. I really think that the energy is going to be there. I think it's the fact that the in-season tournament's on the line, but it's mainly the fact that it's going to be against the Warriors and Draymond's coming back as well. I definitely think that environment's going to be nuts tomorrow. So Draymond's got that right, at least.
Yes, it's going to be something else. And on top of that, Draymond did not play.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not forget, Draymond did not play. He was in the building and got the Jumbotron, and he got booed immediately. But Draymond did not play when the Warriors came to town at the beginning of the season. So you got that going as well. I think everybody's going to be raring to go. And to your point, the Warriors tend to use the Kings as a palate cleanser, right? And the Warriors have been playing better as of late, but they still have a lot of foundational issues going on.
Definitely.
And they just say, okay, well, at least we know we can still beat the Kings whenever we want. And I hate to sound disrespectful like that.
No, they feel comfortable.
I think that's what they, okay. I feel like if the Warriors lose tomorrow night, then it would be real panic, because the Kings are the team that, no matter how hot the Kings have been, no matter how cold the Warriors have been, you put your big boy pants on and you take care of business against your little bros.
Yeah.
And if the Warriors aren't able to get this done, I think we send them back to the Bay Area with a lot of question marks, because it could be used very similar to Niners Seahawks. Okay, are you real contenders or pretenders? And I think both teams are trying to answer that question. And if you look at the strength of each other's schedules and the wins that they have, the Kings have played much better than the Warriors. The problem is the Warriors just get to hold over the King's head that we beat you head to head.
Exactly.
So all that other stuff you can make yourself feel good however you want, but when we come head to head,
we know what time it is.
Know what
allegedly.
Time it is. Yeah, exactly. So I think that will be an interesting thing. We also have some sound from Draymond that we're going to get to after the break here, as he talks about the chokehold and whether or not on Rudy Gobert, whether he feels bad about it. We'll get to that and much more when we get back. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
It's that time of year again. Sactown Sports is welcoming Santa back to town for the 40th annual Santa Parade, Saturday, December 9th in downtown Sacramento. Grab the family and join us as we celebrate Santa's arrival with marching bands, superheroes, cheer squads, and more. Parade starts at 10 a.m. at 14th and N. We'll see you Saturday, December 9th in downtown for the Santa Parade with Western Health Advantage, Huff Home Services, and the California National Guard. Get more information at SactownSports.com.
If the lights in your home flicker whenever you plug in the toaster or the breaker flips when you use the microwave, let us fix that. Bonnie's offering a free electrical panel inspection so you'll know exactly what's going on. Bonnie, plumbing, sewer, electrical, heating, and air. Bonnie.com. Some restrictions apply. License 696355.
I'm Craig Ashton of the Injury Law Firm of Ashton & Price. Whether you've been injured on a bicycle, as a pedestrian in a slip and fall, auto, Uber, Lyft, or big rig accident, you need Ashton & Price in your corner. When you call Ashton & Price, there's no chatbot telling you to hit 3 for accounting. You're greeted by a real-life person who will immediately transfer you to an experienced attorney. The consultation's free, and there's never a fee until you win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
At Elk Grove Honda, not only do we have a great selection of pre-owned certified cars at very fair prices, but every one of our pre-owned automobiles are treated with kid gloves with a 182-point inspection that covers everything from unibody to tires to brakes and engine filters. Then our certified cars receive a mobile oil change and fresh fill-up with full synthetic mobile oil. We know you have lots of choices of where to purchase your next car. Come to Elk Grove Honda, home of the 182-point inspection and mobile oil change. We're in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 at Elk Grove Boulevard.
At Jim Boy's Tacos, you get a lot of flavor for under $10. Our classic #2 combo meal spreads cheer with a farm-dusted ground beef taco, scratch-made bean and cheese burrito, and a soft drink. So jingle on down to Jim Boy's or order online at participating locations.
Woo-hoo-hoo! Hey, what's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet, a Hoblet Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Woodland. What's happening for Chrysler's Black Friday sales event?
Right now, save up to $17,500 off MSRP when you lease a new 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe. I've been in the business my entire life, and I've never seen savings like this on one of America's favorite SUVs.
Wow, almost $20,000 off MSRP is pretty awesome. What about those Jeep Wranglers?
You can save over $16,000 off MSRP when you lease a new 2024 Jeep Wrangler Willys 4xe. And yes, I did say 2024s, and I did say Willys. At Hoblet, we're working to save you money on what you want, not last year's leftovers.
If you want a new Jeep, there's only one place to go. Plus, get 4.99% financing only at Hoblet Dodge. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period. 17.5 total net savings on lease only after 14.5 factory rebates and 3,000 dealer discounts. 16,000 total net savings after 13 factory rebates and 3,000 dealer discounts. Rebates include 7,500 federal tax credits subject to change without notice. 5 of each net savings. Special 4.99% financing for 84 months on approved credit through Travis Credit Union. Must have 740 plus FICO score to qualify and be eligible for membership. 14.15 per thousand financing dealer for details.
Who has the largest selection of golf merchandise in Northern California? The Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. It's the go-to store for golf bags, apparel, equipment, lessons, club fittings, novelty items, and more. With their low price guarantee, complimentary gift boxes, and gift cards for your golfer, it's the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Add convenient online shopping and effortless after-Christmas return policy, and you'll see why the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop is the #1 choice for golfers everywhere. Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway or online at hagenoaks.com.
Amazon will be delivering packages to your house. Let Amazon deliver customers to your business. If that sounds good and you want more in 2024, simply text digital to 916-766-5105.
Yep, 'tis the season. Hi, if you're like me, you take pride in your gift giving. Well, I've got a terrific idea for you. Gift cards from the Good Feet store. Okay, so arch supports aren't exactly what they've been hinting for, but you know they'd love them. And with the Good Feet lifetime warranty, it's a gift they'll enjoy forever. Buy a Good Feet gift card now, and Good Feet will boost its value 20%. That's a 20% gift free from the Good Feet store. If you have someone on your list who's on their feet all day, has sore feet, knee, hip, or back pain, or even plantar fasciitis, maybe needs an energy boost, or just wants to maintain their active lifestyle, a Good Feet Arch Support gift card could be the perfect gift.
The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. It's Warriors Week here as we get ready for Kings-Warriors in-season tournament. Will the Kings take down the Warriors and win their group and head over to the knockout rounds? Will the Warriors continue doing what they've been doing? It will be electric in the building. Thank you to Emil Fergosa, who joined us 30 minutes ago to talk some Niners, our Sactown Sports 49ers insider, as we break down the Draymond quotes, the gift that keeps on giving. It's just a week of villains here. You have the Eagles, who everybody can't stand. The Eagles and Sirianni, he's talking trash to everybody. You have Draymond. It is just a crazy week here if you are a fan.
Dare we call it a
teams.
rivalry week?
I would say that.
Hold on.
I would say that. Rivalry week here at
I can't
Sactown
say it.
Sports.
I can barely say it, but
I'm saying it. Here we go. 916-339-1140. Here we go on the text line from the 530. We've heard from Warriors fans, and here is the retort from the 530. They're just jealous because we've always, in all caps, had a strong fan base. Early 2000s, Oracle was all purple when we played there, ... Warriors fans are trash. Keep it coming.
Yeah.
Wow. Just keep it
just
coming.
Build on it.
Yeah.
Just build on it. Because, I mean, you know, I love my city. I love this team. And I would definitely say that there was definitely a period of time where the Kings sucked and the Warriors didn't. And Sleep Train Arena / Golden One Center was looking a little blue and yellow. So I will, you know, I
not to call them out,
you know,
not to call them out.
That typically happens.
No, let me ask you a question. And Simone, you can hop in here too.
Okay.
Do you know anyone? You don't have to call them out by name. Do you know anyone that was rocking with you back in the day with Baby, with White Chocolate, with Chris Webber, with Stojakovic, with Vladi? They were rocking with you. And then all of a sudden, just a couple years go by, right? Kings start to struggle. They fall off. And all of a sudden, that friend that you had all of a sudden has got a Steph Curry jersey. That friend that you had all of a sudden is We Believe. That friend that you had all of a sudden, you know, I have a cousin that was a Warriors fan, and I've always kind of liked the Warriors. Do you know a flip-flopper, Chris? Simone, do you know a flip-flopper? You don't got to call him out.
Personally, no, I don't.
Okay.
Because they would definitely be no friend of mine. I would definitely not categorize them as a friend if that's how they decided to act in their day-to-day life. But no, I would not say anyone like immediately that I could say, oh yeah, my buddy here. But it was definitely a couple Sacramentins. Nobody who was a real fan, I would say, did that. No.
Okay.
Like there might have been an occasional, when the Kings were good, I was in first grade and kindergarten. So of course, maybe there were a couple people who were rocking, Bibby jerseys as
and all of a sudden they're in the closet. Now they're back out the closet.
Now they're rocking Steph jerseys, but no one in my immediate circle. Absolutely not.
I have some upsetting testimony. I don't know if you know this about me.
Oh no.
So of course I grew up here in Sacramento.
Yes.
I did move out to San Francisco. I went to San Francisco State. I actually worked for Aisha Curry. Things got a little muddled for me. I'll just leave it at that. I know I'm going to get canceled, but I do have to stand in my.
I don't know why you said that on the air.
Trojan horse. That's what she was doing. She was just trying to get in close so that she could take them out from within. I respect it, Simone.
Yeah, but then exactly. I worked for the Currys.
And let me guess, the funniest thing happened.
Right back
you
away.
Ended up liking them.
Yeah, they're lovely people.
See, that's the problem. That's how they sucker you in.
I beg your
That's
pardon.
how they sucker
They're
you in,
lovely.
Simone.
They're lovely, but not a Warriors fan. Back here in Sacramento, moved back to Sacramento to work for the Kings.
Here's a question. If you are a true Kings fan, do you have to hate the Warriors? Let's
that's
say,
interesting.
Like after the Warriors beat, and actually this goes back to the playoffs because I thought it was really interesting, the whole rivalry, not a rivalry thing, Because after the Warriors beat the Kings, you had two teams that have given Kings fans nightmares going up against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Lakers and Warriors. So my question was, who do the King, if besides them both losing, which is impossible, who would you rather win? And from what I saw, maybe it was just people being prisoner of the moment. I saw a lot of people that were rooting for the Lakers, which I thought was kind of crazy.
Yeah, to me, I think it's just the modern day Kings fan has to hate the Warriors, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk about it a lot. And it's not even necessarily even the on the court thing, but to me, it's what you were just getting at with your friends and your family members. Mm-hmm. It's the fact that the Golden State Warriors, through being successful, which is no fault of their own, it's what every team should aspire to do. It's more on the Kings. But the Warriors took so many potential Sacramento Kings fans out of this area. Not saying they literally moved them to San Francisco, but they took so many kids for the past 17, 18 years that, should have been kids wearing De'Aaron Fox and Tyreek Evans and DeMarcus Cousins jerseys. And instead, the Warriors were the it team. They were the team that if you were in third grade and you said, I'm a Kings fan, you're probably getting roasted by other kids who are all about, seeing Steph Curry highlights on YouTube and watching Kevin Durant knock down threes and win championships in San Francisco and Oakland at the time. I think that's the reason why Sacramento Kings fans, really, really passionate Sacramento Kings fans, should hate the Warriors. Yeah. It's not even necessarily they beat us all the time, they sun us. It's they actively took our fan base away and turned them into Warrior fans.
Right. And okay, so here you go.
Laker fans suck in general. That's why you should hate them.
But. Caesar916 on the YouTube chat. I know a couple flip floppers. Okay.
Snip snap.
Annie Correa on the YouTube chat. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. My question to, I guess, Caesar916 and to the other people, anybody that knows a flip-flopper. My question is, did they flop back? Did they flip back? Because now the Kings are kind of on the come up, and the Warriors are just praying for maybe one more, and I don't think they're going to get it, right?
Was anyone at a Warriors parade and yet also took a picture with the beam?
I don't know why I laughed that hard.
Because it was you, Simone. Because
Simone was definitely.
No, it was you. Now
She was never went to a parade.
No, you went.
I
actually saw you. Now that I'm remembering correctly.
I'm really upset. I think I went to one Oracle game.
Did you cheer?
Up in the bleachers?
Get out.
It was a Kings game.
Did you have on a half jersey?
No.
A half hat?
I didn't. And I've been to Chase Center, and I've always rocked the Kings.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
I've never seen.
Sometimes when the work, when you're working for the enemy, you gotta, fall in the line.
You gotta fall in line. Well, who doesn't? Who doesn't fall in line ever? That's Draymond Green, and here he is. I just kudos to whoever asked him the question. Does he regret putting Rudy Gobert in a chokehold? Here he is.
I don't live my life with regrets.
Crazy. Crazy.
Like I said before, I'll come to a teammate's defense anytime that I'm in a position to come to a teammate's defense. That's what a team is. You stick together through the good and the bad. And I take that to heart. I take pride in being a good teammate. That's when I step in here every single day, that's number one on my list, to be a good teammate. Number one. I think that takes care of a lot of things. So I take pride in that. And reflecting on the whole incident, I think for me is, you kind of go through the whole gauntlet of everybody having an opinion, and you listen to those opinions or not. Some people opinion I hear, some people opinion I don't. And I think for me and going through it is like what matters to me. And what matters to me is how the people that I care about feel. First and foremost, how are the people that I care about affected? How are the people that I care about, what do they have to deal with? I think that's it for me.
I beg your pardon? What did he just say there?
Word salad.
What did he just say?
He said it doesn't matter what people think as long as people who he likes says that he's fine.
Yeah.
But how does Draymond know that people are keeping it real with him? Right? Because he's Draymond, right? He's saying, as long as we're good, that's like saying that, hey, just relax, right? You're relaxed, aren't you? Right? Everything's good, right? Like that's what it comes off to me. I know we got to get to a break. We'll react to it when we get back. And we also have just some takes on the Kings being 6th in the West. Is it time to care about the standings? Is it still too early in the season? But yeah, hey, we're good, right? Okay, cool. We're good. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
NBA in-season tournament group play stage is almost complete. The runway to Vegas is narrowing, and the teams that can qualify is shrinking. The Sacramento Kings control their own destiny, but standing in their way a familiar foe, the Golden State Warriors.
It's simple. Win and the Kings go on to the knockout stage. Listen to every thrilling moment Tuesday at 7 on your home of the Kings, Sactown Sports and the Sactown Sports app.
Timing is everything, and this marks the beginning of the most wonderful time of the year, California, when families come together, traditions come alive, and so does the Black Friday Sell-a-thon at your California Ford dealers, where the best deals on the entire Ford lineup of trucks and SUVs continue all weekend long, like the built Ford Tough F-150, part of F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 46 years and counting. The adventure-ready Ford Bronco Sport with GOAT modes to help you conquer the great outdoors. Or the electrifying Ford Mustang Mach-E with 0 to 60 thrills and 0 emissions. It all starts at your California Ford dealer. Kick off the holiday season with exclusive offers on your favorite Ford vehicles. And now's the best time to find the perfect Ford for you. The Black Friday Sell-a-thon is on at your California Ford dealer. Don't wait, this is your time. The Black Friday Sell-a-thon ends November 27th, based on 1977 to 2022 CY total sales.
Red Hawk Resort Casino is the best place to go all in and all out. Go all in at our table games, then go all out to win on the area's only 3-story indoor kart track. Or go all in for our famous award-winning buffet. Then go all out at our state-of-the-art 18-lane bowling center. And now with a world-class sports bar and beautiful resort hotel, you can go all in for fun and all out for comfort. We're Red Hawk Resort Casino, official casino partner of the Sacramento Kings.
As we come together to celebrate the end of this long, long year, Stockton Honda has savings to bring us all cheer. Happy Honda Day savings and selection galore. Stockton Honda's online express purchase and great people give you more.
Save on 400 new Hondas at Stockton Honda during Happy Honda Days. Shop in person or online with our express purchase option.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Yep, that trailer hitch and folding bed cover from TruckSmart makes road trips a breeze.
Right? I'm so much more organized on the job site since TruckSmart installed my truck rack and toolbox.
And they had it all in stock, so I just waited as they installed everything.
Take a look at this sweet Rhino truck lining. They sprayed it on.
Yeah, you win. That is sweet.
Truck Smart, truck and SUV accessories for on the road and the job site. Stop by one of our 2 locations in Rockland or Auburn. TruckSmart.com. Your truck's gonna love them.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit KHTK.com.
Prestigio Jewelers Black November sale is on all month long. Get amazing doorbuster deals while supplies last. 1-carat diamond earrings only $449. Wedding sets starting at only $899. 70% off gold chains and much more. Get quick and easy credit approval and low monthly payments at Prestigio Jewelers. No credit, bad credit, even bankruptcy, you're approved. Prestigio Jewelers guarantees your credit up to $10,000. Shop designer brands such as Cartier, Gucci, Bulova, and Citizen. Visit us today or online at prestigiojewelers.com. See store for details.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Right now, the sewer system is probably the last thing on your mind.
And that's okay, because at the Sacramento Area Sewer District, it's our first priority. If you have a sewer problem like a slow drain or a backup, call us first, day or night.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports. Talking Kings versus Warriors, talking Niners versus Eagles. Huge week here in Sacramento in terms of the sports. And if you're into college sports, you also, and Cal getting a big win this past weekend. NorCal, right? I saw in the YouTube chat, hey, when we talk about Kings, Warriors, and still NorCal over everything, got to beat those guys from SoCal whenever possible. And right now, the Kings are 6th in the West, right? Not great, but it's also early. Should we care yet? I don't know. And I guess when should we start caring?
I would say overall, no. Of course, like it's important to get off to good starts, but you know, the Orlando Magic right now are 12-5 in the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. Mm-hmm. I don't think we should expect that to remain the same, but I think it's important, even though, you know, these records ultimately don't matter. I think it's important to just talk about where these teams are at least heading. Like clearly the Orlando Magic are heading in the right direction. The Indiana Pacers had a similar start last year as they did this year. Clearly that is a sign that when Tyrese Halliburton is playing, they're good. And I think the fact that the Kings at 9-6 right now, you know, whether or not the season goes to plan, I think it's a sign that the roster that they have, the collection of talent they have when healthy, which is key, is a winning roster. And I think that's important to know, because especially here in Sacramento, that just hasn't been the case every single time. And the Kings clearly, you know, they've had a tough schedule, I would say, to start off this year. And the fact that they are above 500 and a couple games above 500 at that, I think that it's a sign that this team is at the very least, and you know, I wouldn't say it was that big of a question, but I think some did wonder. I would say this team is of the quality that they were last year, if not better. And that's the part that's still TBD. But I would say as of this moment in time, we've seen enough this season to know last year wasn't a fluke. It's not like the Kings are outclassed in this Western Conference, which was a big talking point from a lot of national people. I think the thing that we have learned so far through 15 games this year is the Sacramento Kings are a legitimate Western Conference team. Now, are they a contender? All that stuff still TBD, but they're at least rightfully so in this grouping of really good Western Conference teams.
Yeah, I think Family Schlegel on the YouTube chat makes a good point. If the Kings are 6th in the West right now with 10 road games and 5 home games,
right,
with only 1 Eastern Conference game, I'm cool.
And 33% of those games without De'Aaron Fox.
Exactly.
Well, so I think you can't be too upset.
Right. And as far as whether you should pay attention to the standings yet, I don't know if it's even a matter of paying attention to the standings as much as it's a matter of paying attention to the gaps, right? And making sure
the tiers almost.
Yes,
how the tiers get established.
Right. Once there are teams that are more than probably 5 games back of other teams, that's when it's okay. It's time to pay attention, because you're starting to chase. Mm-hmm. When does that chasing begin? So if you're looking right now, you know, at the Western Conference, nobody in the top really 9, I guess put it to 8. The Houston Rockets are 3 games back of the Timberwolves, that's the difference between first place and 8th place. Now, last season, there wasn't a lot of movement the whole time because it was a complete mess.
Right.
But you did have the first 3 teams that had separated themselves, or the first 2 or 3 teams that separated themselves. And then 4 through 8 was a complete mess, or 4 through 9. So it's when teams start separating, and whenever that is, that could be now if somebody goes on the hot streak. That could be in a month. So I don't think it's a matter of which game it's at. If somebody goes on a tear and is now up, if you're up by 5 games and whatever, if it's the 1 seed or the 2 seed, wherever it is, if there is a gap of 5 games or more, I think that's when it's time to keep an eye, because in this league with 82 games and back-to-backs and people got to get rest, especially with more games now because of the in-season tournament, it's not as simple to just say, okay, we're going to turn on the Jets and just catch a team.
Right.
It's how early on are you going to have to start relying on another team to lose, which can happen quicker than you think.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm just looking at the records at this point in the season last year. And on November 27th, 2022, Phoenix was in first in the West at 13-6. They ended up fourth or fifth in the Western Conference. Denver was second at 12-7. Memphis was 12-8. New Orleans was 11-8. The Kings were 10-8. They were the 6th seed. So, there's still so much time, and you really can't determine how good someone's going to be, because even the Lakers I'm looking at this point now, the Lakers did have a pretty historic turnaround last year after, their complete renovation of their team, of their roster, but the Lakers were 7-11 at this point. And that's it. They ended up being the 8th seed and sneaking in via the play-in, but it's not completely over. But to your point, this is kind of the point in the season in which teams start to separate themselves. And while it might not be insurmountable, it's just a clear uphill battle to climb, which is not something you want to do as you're heading towards the middle of the season, where injuries pile up and, day-to-day randomness happens. So the Kings, at the very least through 15 games, have done a good job of, again, just keeping themselves in the mix. And I would still say also giving them some room to still play their best basketball. You never want to be peaking too early in the season. And I think we've seen a lot of ups and downs, obviously, throughout this Kings season so far. So they've also let themselves get a little bit of grace room when it comes to room to improve. So that's, in a weird way, I would say that's also a positive, that I would not say we have seen the best of Sacramento Kings basketball for this season yet.
No, not at all. And I think we've seen, but you could say that about a lot of teams.
Of course,
right?
Of course.
And I would say that you can be happy about what you've seen from the Kings. And, we've tried to, whether it's the benchmark win or a benchmark game or a measuring stick game or whatever it is for tomorrow night, when you're kind of grasping at things to figure out what matters and what doesn't throughout the course of the season, you have to include this. You have to include this when you're discussing games that matter for the regular season.
Yeah,
so
throughout the year. Yeah. Like at the end of the year, we're probably going to reference back to this Tuesday game in some form, of whether it be the Kings winning and saying, oh my gosh, yeah, the Kings already showed that they can, win in a playoff type atmosphere against a team that is someone that is a rival or whatever you want to say. That's a big win. Or if they lose, we can point back and say, look, that's an important game this year that the Kings didn't meet that level of expectation. So yeah, I would definitely think Tuesday it's going to be an interesting one for sure. I mean, just what ends up coming of it is going to be really, really big. Like, yeah, if you want to call it a statement or a measuring stick game, it's definitely a game that's going to be something that we're going to reference back to the entirety of the year.
Yeah. And look, the in-season tournament was one of those things where the Kings, they broke that streak of 16 years and they get into the playoffs. And now you have an opportunity. And I know you're somebody as a Kings fan that, hey, a win is a win. And a lot of fans were going back and forth about this in-season tournament and whether it's a money grab or should you be happy about it or care about it. But if your team is it has an opportunity to win anything, right? That anything of note and be the first winner of something, I think that a lot of people that it doesn't mean as much as winning the NBA championship.
Of course not.
But it's okay to care about this, right? The Kings, they are a team that should care about this. And I'll get to that Steve Kerr quote after the break, but the Kings should care about this.
Absolutely.
These teams, not to belittle it, but the Warriors can't really afford to. They don't have the horses, right? They're just trying to get through the season in one piece, right? The Kings, they can handle this. The Nuggets, a little bit interesting. How much do you care about it coming off a title?
Right.
And
Jamal Murray's not playing for them now.
Jamal Murray's not
might
playing.
Be coming back soon.
Exactly. So the Kings are one of those teams and that's why our own Whitey Gleason had the Kings picked to represent the West in this in-season tournament. So why not? Why not? Yeah. It gives you something to watch. It gives you bragging rights on something. And
as a coach, it's also a great thing to be able to tell your team, like, hey, like we've shown the ability to win and rise to occasions. And, in a tournament where everybody was kind of gunning for the same thing, we were the best team in that. Like, I think that's when you talk about going into the playoffs and things to rile up your team or just things to look back on to feel positively about. Clearly winning the in-season tournament, it would be something that you could use for your team. Like it's a motivational piece and something that you can say when things are at their lowest. No, I know that we're capable of pulling ourselves together because we've achieved X accomplishment.
Stiles and Watkins got to get to a break. When we get back, is De'Aaron Fox a legitimate MVP candidate? And we will have those Steve Kerr quotes for you as well. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Last season, the Sacramento Kings gave us a little bit of everything. A Pacific Division type, GM of the Year, Coach of the Year, Clutch Player of the Year, All-Stars and all NBA performers. Plus, we got to light the beam.
Here's a steal by Fox, the breakaway. He's got the rip with the left hand.
What does this season have in store? Find out. Each and every Sacramento Kings game can be heard right here on your proud home of the Beam team, Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
It's the season of performance event at Acura of Stockton. Elevate your driving experience with a vehicle that's built to impress. Lease a new Acura RDX or MDX. Acura of Stockton has a great selection of new Acuras and customer service that will exceed your expectations. Take luxury to a whole new level in a new Acura from Acura of Stockton or AcuraofStockton.com, where precision-crafted performance is at your fingertips.
Sactown Sports is home to the Kings, Niners, and now the business of sports. Hosted by Kelly Brothers and brought to you by Cap Trust, offering customized, independent financial advice at captrust.com. Join Kelly Brothers, Carmichael, Dave, and Jason as they look at the business of sports every Thursday at 7:40 a.m. You want to know how sports really work? Follow the money with Kelly Brothers from Cap Trust on Sactown Sports.
This is Jeff Scott. Did you know there's a way to outsmart COVID if you get it? Now, there are medicines that can treat COVID whether or not you've been vaccinated, which is great news, especially if you're over 50. If taken in the first 5 days of having symptoms, COVID medicines can help stop the illness from getting serious. Call a healthcare provider or the statewide COVID hotline at 833-422-4255 to learn more about COVID medicines. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
It's no secret to golf enthusiasts that Timber Creek and Sierra Pines in Roseville are one of the region's most unique and scenic places to enjoy a great game of golf. 27 holes, boundless options. Elevate your game on our newly renovated driving range, putting green, and chipping area. Whether you're aiming for fun, lower scores, or all-around growth, we've got you covered. Experience golfing dreams in Roseville and book your tee time at timbercreekgc.com. Timber Creek and Sierra Pines, your ultimate golf haven.
At Elk Grove Honda, not only do we have a great selection of pre-owned certified cars at very fair prices, but every one of our pre-owned automobiles are treated with kid gloves with a 182-point inspection that covers everything from unibody to tires to brakes and engine filters. Then our certified cars receive a mobile oil change and fresh fill-up with full synthetic mobile oil. We know you have lots of choices of where to purchase your next car. Come to Elk Grove Honda, home of the 182-point inspection and mobile oil change. We're in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 at Elk Grove Boulevard.
Yep, 'tis the season. Hi, if you're like me, you take pride in your gift giving. Well, I've got a terrific idea for you. Gift cards from the Good Feet store. Okay, so art supports aren't exactly what they've been hinting for, but you know they'd love them. And with the Good Feet lifetime warranty, it's a gift they'll enjoy forever. Buy a Good Feet gift card now, and Good Feet will boost its value 20%. That's a 20% gift free from the Good Feet store. If you have someone on your list who's on their feet all day, has sore feet, knee, hip, or back pain, or even plantar fasciitis, maybe needs an energy boost, or just wants to maintain their active lifestyle, a Good Feet Arch Support gift card could be the perfect gift.
The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your new home for 49ers football in the 916.
Sactown Sports.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m., talking all things Kings and Warriors, getting ready for that showdown tomorrow night. In-season tournament showdown, and here is a quote from Steve Kerr just about whether or not people care. I don't think this is anything groundbreaking. This is from the San Francisco Chronicle in regards to the veterans and caring about the in-season tournament. I've seen a few players say this, and I think it's true. Our vets would love to win to see the younger guys get a significant chunk of money, Kerr said Sunday. That's real. Obviously, it doesn't mean as much to the guys who are set for life and incredibly wealthy, but much of the NBA is young guys who will only be in this league for a year or two on a non-guaranteed contract.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. It makes a lot of sense. Like, this tournament probably means a whole lot more for, guys like Jordan Ford and Kessler Edwards and Jalen Slauson than it does for, De'Aaron, who's making 35 plus million, and Sabonis making 30 plus million. Harrison Barnes just signed a nice, $50 million contract over the next 3 or 4 years or whatever it was. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, but it'll ultimately, I don't think that level of determination is going to really play itself. Like, I think at the end of the day, pride is the thing that is truly fueling these guys, especially once it gets to, the Final Four or the final matchup. Like, I don't think Steph Curry is going to go night and then point at Brandon Pajemski or something. Yeah. Like,
I cashed you out.
I'm pretty sure that these guys are mainly doing it because there's a trophy at the end of this, and, you will be talked about as the in-season tournament champions. And that is going to carry, whether or not, people truly buy into it, it's going to carry some sort of cachet when it comes to talking about your team for the rest of this season. So I think it more has to do with pride, but I think it's whatever. It's a pie, if you will. We love to do pies on this show. Why not? That's probably 10% of the pie is those guys saying, hey, Trace Jackson Davis, I really want to get you paid $500,000.
Right. Exactly. That's not necessarily pushing them, but hey, there's incentives for everybody. Yeah. And I saw Cam Newton, who's doing a lot of show. He's got his own show or something like that, and he was talking to somebody, and they were like, "Oh, I was on a show, and I was won the tag championship or something, $15,000." And Cam Newton, who's made a lot of money over his career, said $15,000 is still nothing to sneeze about. It's $15,000 left in my pocket right now. I have some questions about it. So I think that a lot of these guys, not that they need the money, but I do think that it will be a driving factor. I'm sure there'll be an MVP. There'll be all these things. And speaking of
first
MVP,
team all in season.
Yeah, first team all. You can add incentives to anything. And speaking of MVP, not in season, but just league MVP, De'Aaron Fox.
Come on.
He's got to be in that
question mark.
Enough with the stinkers, right? Can't have too many stinkers, De'Aaron.
Can have a couple. But
he's got to be in the conversation at this point.
He has to be. I mean, just with how, again, I've been talking about it all year, but just how well he's played when he's in, but also how poorly they played when he wasn't, I think is the biggest indicator of his MVP case. And he's been incredible. It's the fact that he's hitting his threes now on 8 or 9 attempts per game. He's shooting at 37, 38%. The offense is significantly better. I've got some numbers. The Kings have a 119.4 offensive rating when Fox is on the court, which is third in the NBA. They have a 111.3 offensive rating when he's off the floor, which is 24th in the NBA. And the eye test also matches that as well. So like it's just as simple for right now as the only reason you wouldn't put him in the top 5 is because there's just so many names that, yes, De'Aaron definitely does have a case, but so does Tyrese Halliburton, so does LeBron James, so does Steph Curry, so does Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, so does Luka, Embiid, Jokic, the list goes on and on. And so really the only thing that's disparaging De'Aaron's MVP case is the fact that there's so many guys out there who also have cases that are, tick for tack as good as his.
Yeah, and the pool will get a bit smaller.
It will, of course.
Somebody will get injured and they'll have to miss time.
Teams fall off. You know, if the Pacers end up at 500, Tyrese Halliburton could average 35.
No, you're out. You're out. And Jokic, I think, is the guy that we maybe, because we're so used to him being in the conversation, we haven't talked about enough. Because if you look at the actual roster of the Nuggets, it is really nothing.
It's not great.
Not to
They've
say
lost pieces. They have not gained a lot.
No, not to say that the game is played on paper, but you look around and you're saying, oh yeah, the Nuggets are rolling. And then you look at why they're rolling and who they've been kind of going to. They beat the Spurs last night. The Spurs just having a rough go. They got to play all these good teams, but that's just the Western Conference. But you're looking around and you look at this roster, and I guess maybe Michael Porter Jr., who at one time was a top draft pick before injury, maybe he's starting to figure it out. 25 points last night. Then you have a Justin Holiday, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who Lakers fans literally bought the Uber to get him out of town. Reggie Jackson having a resurgence.
They're playing Reggie Jackson 25 plus minutes a game right now,
and he's kind of balling.
He's playing really well. He's playing about as well as Reggie Jackson can play. But to me, that's the telltale sign that they need help. If you're playing Reggie Jackson 25 minutes a game, that is not by choice.
28 minutes last night. And what he's doing is, when you're missing a guy like Jamal Murray, you're getting a decent amount of that same production.
Yeah.
I mean, 20 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists from Reggie Jackson. That is found money if you are the Nuggets. And then, ho-hum, Nikola Jokic, 39 points, 9 assists, 11 rebounds.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why you're able to play Reggie Jackson and have it not be that massive of a drop-off from Jamal Murray, is because when you have a guy like Nikola Jokic, he's just a force multiplier times 5. He makes everybody around him so much better by finding them in spots that they like to be. And that's really what it's been, is just Jokic is this team's everything. I mean, much like, of watching that Eagles-Bills game the other day, and it's like Josh Allen. It's like every single thing is, everything that's good about their team is because of Nikola Jokic right now. And that's kind of the thing that, that nobody really has the answer for. And that's why Denver's still going to be the team to beat in the West, because they're still, what are they? They near the top, if not at the top of the Western Conference right now. And they haven't had Jamal Murray all month. And it's because Jokic is just so singularly good that he's able to, at least in the regular season, carry his team to still be one of the best, if not the best in the NBA.
Yeah.
They're 4 right now, actually.
Right. And, what a lot of teams have in star power, and this isn't to say that, we know that we believe De'Aaron Fox is a star.
Absolutely.
But what the Kings maybe don't have in terms of star power that other teams do have is just an offensive system that I think a lot of teams can't really keep up with, right? I mean, you see them running up and down the floor, and other teams that are also young and spry are not able to keep up with them. Anthony Edwards said something after the game where he said, we hadn't played a team like the Kings.
Yeah.
They run up and down the floor. They make that extra pass. And it's funny, going back to this being Warriors week, and we know where Mike Brown came from. It gives off that type because the Kings are playing more of that 2014, even with Kevin Durant, it was different because it's Kevin Durant, but 2014 to call it 2019 Warriors basketball. Sure. And I guess you could throw 2022 in there.
Just flinging around.
Right. It's just flying around. And the Warriors weren't the first team to do it. The Phoenix Suns did it back in the day. The Rockets did it as well. But the difference is you still have to have that inside presence. And as much as I've really been on these airwaves and talked about the Kings being one-dimensional, I do think that Sabonis and his ability to just establish a presence down low really makes everything go. And we had the conversations about Halliburton. If you take away Halliburton and enter, I don't know who you would have as a center, right? Let's call it a tier. If Sabonis is a tier 1B center, right? And you put in a tier, maybe 2B, because you got to pay these guys, maybe a tier 2B or call it a tier 2 center. Really depends on what you're looking for. I'm looking if you have a fall off. Maybe if you have a Valanciunas is probably the worst you can go and still be a legit team because as good as Halliburton's been playing, okay, you just have 5 shooters.
Yep.
And I guess Trey Lyles, you're trying to do the Warriors thing and run the small 5 at all times. And you're going to trade for Kevon Looney. I mean, and Kevon Looney can't do anything offensively. So I do, not to get back into that conversation, but I do think that Sabonis adds an extra. If it feels like the Kings rely on the 3-pointer now, can you imagine what it would have been if you didn't have Sabonis, a skilled big offensively? It would be the Houston Rockets.
Yes, they would look.
And the Rockets at Capella.
Yeah.
Right. So you wouldn't even be that's basically the worst you can get as far as a center offensively and be in the mix.
No,
right?
Absolutely. I mean, I definitely think that Sabonis is continually the thing that makes this operation move so well. Like, yes, De'Aaron puts them above the top or whatever, over the top. But with Sabonis, it's not just what he's contributing. Like you said, he's definitely, I would say he's flipped his mindset here recently where he's just been a lot more dominant, a lot more looking for his moments around the paint, around the basket to establish his strength. I think he's been fantastic. And he just, again, he not only gets his own game going, but you see how, Kevin Huerter running off of him is so good for Kevin's game, and even Harrison Barnes and now De'Aaron as well. I see De'Aaron and Sabonis running that pick and pop or pick and roll, and De'Aaron is the one taking the threes. He just does so much for unlocking this offense. I can't even imagine what this team would be at this point. Again, when people bring up if the Kings didn't get Sabonis, what would they look like if they still had Halliburton? I can't even tell you because Sabonis is so central to what this team is right here, right now. And, I mean, you forget about it sometimes because, he did have the bad playoff series that apparently ruined how he's going to be viewed until he can fix it. But I think that he is, and I said it last year, I don't think it's as much the case this year, but he has just as much of a case, or has had just as much of a case of being the Kings' true most valuable player, same as De'Aaron Fox. Now, of course, I think De'Aaron this season has kind of taken it to a different level, but with what Sabonis does for his own game and everybody else's, you just can't you cannot replace that. You can try and throw Davion Mitchell and, Colby Jones, whatever, Keon Ellis, whoever you want to try and replace De'Aaron. You might get a piece of it. But if you try and replace Sabonis, you're going to have to redraw everything up because he just is so central to what they do. Looking here you have the pool, MVP pool, and Fox is not on the NBA.com MVP ladder. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because Sabonis and how he could himself even be in this conversation. He was while De'Aaron was out. Now we know what the Kings look like without De'Aaron, but that's why it's tough because you have LeBron, who is, I know nobody is really saying it, but LeBron's age is playing into this. He's playing a G. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. But if LeBron was 25, now I get it. Yeah. It's ridiculous what he's doing. Does that make him more deserving of MVP consideration? No. It shouldn't. When we go on the blacktop or we play in basketball, we don't, an old dude hooping doesn't get 4 points for a 3-pointer because he's older. Right? That's not how it works. It's not how it works. It's not. Steph, you just had Clay finally break 20. Yep. So Steph, obvious. Luka, a little interesting with Kyrie, but Luka is going to be there because his numbers are just absurd. We talked about Jokic.
Embiid, Shea, and KD is the other one that sticks out because he hasn't had his guys, right? Embiid has had Tyrese. Shea, I get it because they're all young. He's a leader of that young group. And then Halliburton because his numbers are out of control. So I think Fox could be on that list. But if you look at the other counterparts, Sabonis, for what the media is doing isn't really fair because they say Sabonis isn't that good, right, but then they count it against De'Aaron Fox when it's time for these ladders and things like that. All right, got to get to a break. It is time for the Trey Bays. Please stand up.
Stand up.
It is time to talk about Trey Lyles and what he has added to this team. Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Malik Monk plays here.
Started left, goes right, steps back, launches the three. Nothing but net. Oh, that was just filthy. Oh, my, that was sweet.
Sactown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Get year-end pricing during Happy Honda Days at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on our entire selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Ridgeline Civics, and Accords. Plus, with low finance and lease options, now's the time to buy. Hurry in and save during Happy Honda Days at Folsom Lake Honda, or go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Does your dog leave frowny piles of poo around the yard? Did you know that a solid poo is one of the best indicators of your dog's gut health? Supreme Source Super Premium Dog Food is made with organic super seaweed and other powerful antioxidants, supporting a healthy digestive system. Real protein is always the first ingredient, plus a blend of essential vitamins and minerals to help support your dog's overall health and well-being. Do their digestion a solid, literally. Find Supreme Source Premium Dog Food at Safeway, Save Mart, and Smart & Final, or a local grocery store near you.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. It's Warriors Week here. It is time. And we talked a lot about who the Kings didn't have the last time they played the Warriors. They didn't have De'Aaron Fox. And the first time the Kings played the Warriors didn't have Draymond Green. Well, there's somebody else that the Kings didn't have either time that they faced against the Warriors. And that person is possibly Chris Watkins' favorite player on the Kings. Shout out to the Trey Bays.
Shout out.
Trey Lyles has entered the chat, and he has done so in an impressive fashion.
Come on. Yeah, Trey has been great. And, we all knew from watching the team last year, Trey was a really, really important piece coming off the bench. And, I don't think we fully understood his impact until he really started to get mixed in with that backup center spot. And I talked about how last year there was a game against Minnesota where that was kind of the coming out party for Trey Lyles at that backup 5 spot where he knocked down a couple threes. You see Rudy Gobert have to come out and guard him. And I think that's the moment where we all kind of saw Trey's true value for this team. And they've missed him. They've definitely missed him a lot. And I don't think we fully realized it until he enters the game against the Pelicans and in that fourth quarter comes in, knocks down, I think you asked me, I think it was 3 straight threes to start that fourth quarter and get the Kings back into the game. He just gives a level of energy that the Kings don't have. It's another perimeter shooter that, if somebody doesn't have it going, you can move down the list. And there's Trey Lyles, another really reliable 3-point shooter where if Kevin Huerter or Duarte or Monk or whoever doesn't have it going from the perimeter, you can still have Trey Lyles out there. And he's a great rebounder as well. And I think that might be one of the biggest things that the Kings missed is just his physical low post presence of being a big man still. Yes, we talk about him, being super versatile and he lost a ton of weight going into last season, but he was able to grab, I think, 8 rebounds on Wednesday and then 7 on Friday. That's a thing that the Kings really miss is just another true big presence besides Sabonis, because we saw Keegan was getting boards, but HB hasn't been getting rebounds. Sasha Vezenkov hasn't really had rebounding be a part of his game. The Kings really don't have any guys that are rebounders besides Sabonis, and that's something that Trey Lyles can add every single game because, yes, JaVale might be a big presence, but he's not playing every single game.
I know the positions aren't directly the same, but I guess the question is, do you think, and we talked about different guys, not that we're always trying to get Harrison Barnes out of here,
of course,
but is there a world where the lineup is Sabonis, Trey Lyles, then Keegan comes back, and then you have Herter and De'Aaron Fox?
I think so. I think there is a world. I think it's just I think it becomes a conversation of, I think Trey would have to play himself into that role, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think it would be a situation of Harrison. Maybe it will, but I can't see it getting to the point where Harrison's playing so badly that Mike Brown really does look to his bench, just because Harrison's been a veteran guy. And I'm not saying it can't happen, but I just don't see Mike Brown doing it unless Trey Lyles is consistently, 10 to 12 points a game and consistently getting rebounds. Then I think it might actually make some sense, because I do truly believe, and I thought it the moment Harrison signed that contract, I think that contract is meant for a high level bench player. And it feels like, obviously you can start Harrison Barnes at $17 million. That makes a whole lot of sense. But to me, $17 million is also just enough money, or just, I guess, not enough money, to warrant bringing somebody off the bench at that figure, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It works either way.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It doesn't feel like you're wasting money with him on the bench.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like you're, not getting enough.
Yeah, you're not paying enough first. Like, of course, he's not starter quality. You're not paying him starter quality.
Right. It's close enough. What Harrison Barnes is to me, in a starting lineup capacity, is he is the job, and we've all had that job that is a really good job. You got good benefits, and it would be really tough to leave, right? You hop on LinkedIn, you see, wow, that you make a lot more money at that job, right? But it's a chance, right? You're used to this job. You've been at this job for a long time. You know there are limitations to the job. Sometimes you have good days, but sometimes it annoys you. But it's fine, right? It pays the bills. You live a good life.
Going
right?
to work every day, not hating your job and your life.
You don't hate it, but at the same time, you feel like there's something out there that could make you more happy. But the grass isn't always greener. Right. And I feel like that's what the Kings are dealing with Harrison Barnes. You have your good days. Your bad days aren't terrible. Right. You complain to your significant other, then you get over it.
Right.
But
going to complain about any job.
Any job. So you can talk yourself in, and it's easier to talk yourself into staying at that job than it is
making the leap.
To make the leap. And I think that's what it is with Harrison Barnes. And as soon as you get ready to make the leap, you have a good day. Your boss tells you you're doing a great job, and there are good things coming along the horizon. And they just hold that string above your head. That's Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, I love
That's
it.
Harrison
I think
Barnes.
that fits really, really perfect. And I think the question also to build on that is, do the Kings look for the new job that pays them more money and you might not be as happy with all the time? Or do you try and just make a job that'll make you happy? Just go for a guy that, we're looking for defense and a guy who shoots threes. Now, it might not be the name of Harrison Barnes, but let's go get who's a name that we always Royce O'Neal, a Caruso, whatever, whoever it may be. It doesn't, the names we're throwing out doesn't actually have to be the fit. But I think that's the big question for the Kings is, how do they address going about that? I think it's clear and obvious that, especially if you look in the starting roster, starting lineup, the clear point and improvement is the Harrison Barnes spot. The question is, how do you address going out and getting it? It's the question we've been asking all year with the trades. Do you sacrifice maybe even Kevin Herter and some other pieces in the namesake of getting that big piece that's the Harrison Barnes upgrade? Or do you try and, sneak by the market and get a lower level, lower maybe valued guy, but does exactly what you need and fill him into that spot?
Yeah, it's a tough one, man. And obviously Kevin Herter has been on that heater, so it's hard now
of course,
to think about moving off of him. But one of the guys that you really like, it ain't going to be Harrison Barnes for somebody. You're going to have to throw somebody else in there. If the Kings come out and beat the Warriors, dare I say handle the Warriors, and Trey Lyles balls out tomorrow night, and we'll have an update on Keegan Murray hopefully before the show ends, I think a lot of people are going to put that trade generator away.
Yeah.
And if you and I understand why you'd put the trade generator away, but our job is to kind of dig under those layers. Do you think you could be swayed to put the trade generator away, not just based on one game, but if we're looking, and we'll look ahead more throughout the show. If you look ahead, the Kings just finished a pretty tough road trip, but now look at their homestand. You have a back-to-back with the Warriors and the Clippers, so you don't know what Clippers team is going to show up. And then, oh, by the way, that guy we just keep talking about, the Nuggets and Jokic comes to town. Yep. So you look at the end of this trip, because after that you get the Nets, right? So you should have a bit of a break there. Maybe after these 3 games, if things look really good, do you reevaluate? If you're Monty McNair, are you still in the market? Are you still quick to move off of Kevin Huerter if he's really seemed to turn the corner?
Yeah. I think not yet. I still think that there's time to wait, to let guys kind of get into the rhythm of the season and overall see how it looks. I think you still have time before you go out there and have to make a move. But I do think, as we've talked about with, guys like Malik Monk's contract coming up at the end of the year, there are a couple really big decisions that you have to make before the season even comes to an end. And, a lot of those decisions come to a head at the trade deadline, where it is, okay, if we're not going to re-sign Malik Monk, we should probably move him. Or if we are going to keep Malik Monk, well, is Kevin Huerter going to be in the way of, all those things have to come into mind. Also want to give a quick update here as we're seeing news from Kings practice here. Our very own Frankie Cardicelli puts out Keegan Murray was back on the floor for today's practice after missing the last 2 games with lower back soreness. He was a full participant in today's practice, still to be determined on his health status for tomorrow's game. But obviously, if you're practicing, he didn't play on Friday. Last time he played was Monday, right? Because he didn't even play in the Wednesday New Orleans game. So he's had a good amount of rest.
He's had a good amount of rest, man. And I'm just saying, you come into that game fully loaded, right?
Keegan Murray was a problem for Golden State.
He was.
That was the one guy who, once he got going, Warriors never figured out how to slow him down.
Look, man, you come into this game fully loaded. There's no excuses. There are no excuses.
No.
If you were the Kings.
None. No.
There's none.
Nope. You've already had your bad games.
You had some
lost
excuses.
Them. Yeah.
Right? Not here. All right. Got to get to a break. When we get back, NBA.com's power rankings, where do the Kings fall? And like we said, looking forward, tough stretch for the Kings. What are your expectations for the homestand? Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
2 of the best the NFL and NFC has to offer meet Sunday in Philadelphia.
Purdy out of the shotgun, looks left, throws end zone. Caught! George Kittle in the back of the end zone.
It's the Philadelphia Eagles, owners of the top spot in the NFC, versus the San Francisco 49ers, who have had this game circled on their calendar for months. Join Greg Papa and Tim Ryan for all the exciting action Sunday at 1 on your home for 49ers football, Sactown Sports.
Winter is coming. I know you know that, but are you prepared to keep your family warm all season long? At American Energy Heating and Air, their goal is to exceed your expectations of the heating and air industry by valuing the customer experience and making your home comfort system as efficient as possible for the most value. So book your $49 furnace tune-up and safety inspection today. Prevent dangerous gas leaks. Extend the life of that furnace and save on your energy bills. And here's the guarantee. This isn't a sales call. They're not getting in the door so they can try to sell you a bunch of stuff. No, they're just going to do what they say they're going to do. Call today to schedule an appointment at 916-520-9990 or go to AmericanEnergyAir.com. Been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Get your $49 furnace tune-up and safety inspection today. 916-520-9990. American Energy, making the uncomfortable comfortable.
My name is Jim Conroy, and I am the CEO at Boot Barn. Family and the holidays go hand in hand, and they impact our lives in incredible ways. As the hardest working people I've ever met, my parents' impact brought me to Boot Barn, where community comes first, and togetherness and heritage are celebrated. This holiday, as we reflect on the past and look forward to the future, we thank you for further impacting our lives and being a part of the Boot Barn family.
Who has the largest selection of golf merchandise in Northern California? The Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. It's the go-to store for golf bags, apparel, equipment, lessons, club fittings, novelty items, and more. With their low price guarantee, complimentary gift boxes, and gift cards for your golfer, it's the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Add convenient online shopping and effortless after-Christmas return policy, and you'll see why the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop is the #1 choice for golfers everywhere. Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway or online at hagenoaks.com.
This holiday season, create a fun and joyful memory for you and your loved ones. Come light the world and help those in need through the Giving Machine in the Roseville Galleria Mall, November 16th through December 10th, and in Modesto at Valley Fair Mall, December 11th through January 2nd. Choose from local charities serving your community or from global charities worldwide. Come feel the Christmas spirit at the Giving Machine. Learn more at givingmachine.greatersacramento-modesto.org.
Get your retirement savings to play ball with your retirement plan. Call Cap Trust today at 916-924-7527 or log on to captrust.com.
At Jim Boy's Tacos, you get a ho lot of flavor for under $10. Our classic #2 combo meal spreads cheer with a farm-dusted ground beef taco, scratch-made bean and cheese burrito, and a soft drink. So jingle on down to Jim Boy's or order online at participating locations.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Prestigio Jewelers Black November sale is on all month long. Get amazing doorbuster deals while supplies last. 1-carat diamond earrings only $449. Wedding sets starting at only $899. 70% off gold chains and much more. Get quick and easy credit approval and low monthly payments at Prestigio Jewelers. No credit, bad credit, even bankruptcy, you're approved. Prestigio Jewelers guarantees your credit up to $10,000. Shop designer brands such as Cartier, Gucci, Boulevard, and Citizen. Visit us today or online at prestigiojewelers.com. See store for details.
It's no secret to golf enthusiasts that Timber Creek and Sierra Pines in Roseville are one of the region's most unique and scenic places to enjoy a great game of golf. 27 holes, boundless options. Elevate your game on our newly renovated driving range, putting green, and chipping area. Whether you're aiming for fun, lower scores, or all-around growth, we've got you covered. Experience golfing dreams in Roseville and book your tee time at timbercreekgc.com. Timber Creek and Sierra Pines, your ultimate golf haven.
Sactown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. Talking Kings, Warriors, talking NFL, talking Niners, Eagles. And here you go, Chris. This one's for you. You know, we love talking about QBR on this show. Brock Purdy and how he's normally at the top. Top 5 in QBR from Week 12. Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, number 5. Josh Allen, number 4. Matthew Stafford, number 3. Russell Wilson, number 2. Aiden O'Connell, number 1 for the Raiders. And y'all didn't want to watch that game, that masterclass?
Yeah, but I didn't see anybody say that Aiden O'Connell was the number 1 QB.
That's right. So Aiden O'Connell, MVP votes. Oof. You guys don't want to watch Aiden O'Connell do his thing on CBS?
Pretty messed up.
Come on now.
Come on. I thought Niner fans would have appreciated that kind of game, you know?
You know what's funny? And now that you bring it up, I might as well.
Sorry.
No. You know what's funny to me about Niner fans is that they are now, and it's a little bit different, right? Because we're talking MVP and things like that. But they are now have so much to say about Jalen Hurts and how his numbers aren't anything like Brock Purdy. He shouldn't even be, should not be that high in consideration. And maybe they're right. But it's just funny to me that the Niners are going up and trying to roast a player in Jalen Hurts who all he does is win. When for years, they tried to tell us, they tried to tell me, they tried to tell you that Jimmy G was a good quarterback. Why? Because all he did was win. But now all of a sudden, wins don't matter. Doesn't always look pretty. But all the guy does is win, man. That's all he does. That's what I heard for years. Yeah. That's what I heard for years. And now all of a sudden, wins don't matter. Numbers matter.
And it hasn't looked pretty with Jalen Hurts either. I
No.
mean, that's the funny. I mean, in the Niners fans' defense, but it is fun. It's definitely funny because Jimmy G, that was the biggest stat about Jimmy G was QB wins and the record, and shouldn't matter how it looks because he gets the results and he allegedly would make the plays when needed. Though I rarely saw that, but. And Jalen Hurts has a pretty similar case where it's like you got to watch the games, man. When you watch the games, let me tell you, the Eagles they need him. That tush push doesn't work without him, which might be true, right? But it doesn't mean that it's pretty to watch, and doesn't mean that when I watch the games it screams MVP to me. So I think both things can be true. That the Niners fans are a little ridiculous for hating on the QB wins all of a sudden, but also. No, definitely. The QB wins thing really shouldn't be the Jalen Hurts number one reason why he's winning.
No, and I think Jalen might be a little too high. And I've already talked about how the brands and other reasons why Jalen is higher than Brock Purdy right now. So I'm not even saying the Niner fans are necessarily wrong. It's just funny to me because you spent so much time telling us how Jimmy Garoppolo was good because of QB stat or because of QB wins and whether it's a stat or not. And now no longer it's a stat. Yeah. I just had to, because that one could just crack me up because now all of a sudden nobody cares.
Yep.
Nobody cares that he wins games. It's about numbers, right? It's about QBR.
It's about QBR.
That's the
number one thing that matters.
That's right. And by the way, QBR, well, neither Jalen nor Brock were in, they have a top 5 and bottom 5. Neither Jalen nor Brock Purdy were in the top 5 for QBR. So there you go. And honestly, at the end of the day, it might not go. This could be the year it doesn't go to a quarterback, but it's Patrick Mahomes, somebody like that. He just sleeps. He goes to bed, he wakes up, and he's number 5. He's top 5 in every category.
If you give him a decent number 2 receiver as his number 1, he probably wins MVP handily.
And that is
in a year like this.
That is the Tom Brady comparison. And I know, Brock Purdy, they got drafted late. Sure. But that is a Tom Brady comparison when you're throwing to Danny Amendola's and Julian Edelman's, right? And guys Chris Hogan's, right? That is what you're seeing with Patrick Mahomes being in these games regardless. And, for the Gronks of the world, you have Travis Kelce. So it's a pretty spot on.
Can't do it with nobody.
Come on. Nobody can. As we get to the Kings and the power rankings, they're always all over the place, and they're moving up and down. And where do the Kings fall? They are 8th this week. And what were they, 7th last week?
Something like that. Let me get it. They were, in last week's power rankings, they were 7th. Yep. So they technically moved down. I mean, they did, this is, I would assume, it actually probably happened before the New Orleans game. So, this happened before the New Orleans games. The blurb says the Kings lost twice to New Orleans this week, got outscored by 50 in the restricted area over those 2 games, go 4-2 over their 6-game road trip, picking up quality wins over Lakers, Mavs, and Wolves. So, they still are behind teams like the Orlando Magic, who I mentioned are the 2 seed right now in the West. They're behind the Bucks. They're behind OKC, which is interesting, and Denver and Minnesota and the Bostons of the world and things like that. So, I think it's that's the highest that I've seen the Kings power ranked in any of the other polls. I think that's about right. I would have the Kings at about 8 to 10 right now because they have really, really quality wins against some really quality opponents. It's just those losses speak really, really loud. I mean, I think that's whenever you lose twice, it just kind of, like I said, after you lose 2 to Houston, if this were a boxing match, nobody loses 2 straight boxing matches and then is like, there's still a hunger for a third match. No. You just kind of know that other boxer is better than the other team.
Unless it's Creed 3.
Exactly.
Unless it's Creed 3 and Damian comes out of nowhere and, hey, you don't owe this guy anything. He gets a title fight right out of jail.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, just ridiculous stuff. But and let's see, because did you say the Pelicans? So the Pelicans were 14. So beating the Kings twice move them up
pretty much
2 spots.
Pretty much, yeah.
So the Kings aren't thought of as a juggernaut right now.
Right.
And they've just been really confusing.
I think that's the biggest problem for people, especially when you're just tuning in on random games and not looking at the ins and outs. It's just which team are they? And again, I think a lot of people are going to try and find similarities in the opponents that they've lost to. And I don't really know if there is one, except for the fact that the Kings, much like you've pointed out in the past, and like when they make shots, they look great.
Yeah.
But if they don't, then they look like a very, very beatable team that doesn't have an identity. And I think until the Kings, really the only way they're going to answer that question is just by playing more games and winning in a different variety. But to me, that's, I think, where a lot of the confusion stands from is, are we just supposed to try and guess on a given night if you're going to knock down your shots, and that's going to determine whether or not you win the game? I think that's really tough for people to bank in to say this team's going to have a lot of future success.
The Kings are the most, and there's people have segments and it's a term going on. They are the most, it's a make or miss league.
Yep.
They are the most, it's a make or miss league team in the NBA.
Yeah.
In the NBA.
Especially because it's the open shots that we're talking.
Right.
It literally is. It's not a matter of difficulty or do they get the right shots. They're getting the right shots.
Right.
It's just not going in. And some nights it feels like they do. And if for whatever reason, that's about as far as I can analyze it. Is some nights they hit 50%, 48%, 46% from threes, and then other nights they shoot 29%. And it's as simple as that. They still get the same open looks. They just don't go in.
We got to get to a break, but I don't know. I think something just came to me, Chris, and I want to break it down because I think that there are some similarities here with two teams that have two very big games this weekend. Who could they be?
Interesting.
We'll talk about it on the other side. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Will Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers brass go all the way this season?
Could the Niners win their first Super Bowl since 1995?
Join us throughout the season to hear all the games and all the analysis on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Carmichael Dave here for Jiffy Lube, your proud sponsor of the Drive of the Game. Now listen to every Kings game for Gary Gerald's Drive of the Game call. Then listen to Jason and myself the next morning for a chance to win a $100 Jiffy Lube certificate, courtesy of all the Jiffy Lube locations in the greater Sacramento area. Get your vehicle ready for the holiday driving season at Jiffy Lube today. Oil changes, wiper blades, tire rotations, and more. For more information, go to jiffylube.com.
Right now, the sewer system is probably the last thing on your mind. And that's okay, because at the Sacramento Area Sewer District, it's our first priority. If you have a sewer problem like a slow drain or a backup, call us first, day or night.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. You have been hanging with us all day. Thank you for chilling with your boys. If you're just now joining us, thank you for joining. Thank you, Simone, doing a great job. As always, as we take you up to 2 p.m., we're talking Niners, we're talking Kings. And Chris, it just came to me, had to tease it. But now I'm wondering, and let me know if this is a stretch. Okay. 916-339-1140. Let me know if it's a stretch. Are the Kings less star power?
Okay.
But are the Kings the 49ers of the NBA in that when things get rolling and it's just a complete onslaught, we're going to use that word, maybe front runner a little bit, when the shots are falling, when the defense is rolling for the Niners and you can't stop McCaffrey, and all of a sudden here's a chunk play to Kittle,
right?
And now all of a sudden Ayuk's getting loose and nobody feels like tackling Debo in the cold, right? You got Herter hitting shots and De'Aaron Fox doing his thing, and now you got the bruiser and Domantas Sabonis. Are the Kings and the Niners a little bit similar in their front-running ways?
They're definitely similar in the sense of when things are going well for them, they clearly are a much better team. And I don't know if they can win dirty like what we talk about with the Eagles. Like, can the Kings win? Can they say, okay, shots aren't falling tonight, I guess we have to pivot? I would probably, because the Niners are, I would say, more so in the elite category of the NFL, I would maybe say they're a little more Dolphins, where it's like they are really good when they're going, but the Dolphins also still feel like a little bit more like the Pacers feel more like a Dolphins, where it's like, we're just going to wow you with offense and outscore you, and that's really all we got. But the Kings are like the Dolphins also in the sense of, I think there is still the major question out there of, yeah, sure, this is all fine and dandy, but like, when push comes to shove, are you a team that we can believe in? And that's kind of where I think the Kings and the Niners, I think, to their credit, have proven themselves enough to be rightfully so in a contender, in a top of the NFL category.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if the Kings are defensively, the Niners are elite, and the Kings are just trying to get the middle of the road here. But I was just thinking, when things are going good, these teams look unstoppable.
Yeah. Can these teams win when they're down and it seems like the chips are heavily stacked against them? I think. And in that sense, I have a lot of similar doubts in terms of, like, if I'm given my confidence meter in those teams when things aren't going their way, and can they claw back into this and make it into a game that's winnable for them? Kind of feels like both teams have equal chance. I would maybe give it to the Niners, but as you said up top, it's probably because they have the star power to kind of just create something out of nothing, and the Kings might have to work for it a little bit more. So I think there's a lot of similarities, though. I don't think it's exact, but I definitely hear what you're saying with the fact that both of these teams are clearly a lot different when the script is going towards their favor, and not so much in the, we have to claw back and try and win this game in a way that we might not have wanted to play before going into this.
Right. Yeah, I was just thinking, because when things are rolling, everybody's feeling good. It's a party. They look unstoppable, right? I mean, when the Kings get rolling like they did, and you came out in Minnesota with no Keegan Murray, you're thinking, what are we talking about? What are we talking about trades for, right? What are we talking about trades for? 916-339-1140. Here's from the 925. Stiles, what? Kings haven't won anything ever. Come on, man. Well, I'm sorry, 925. I mean, the last time the Niners won something, I mean,
it's been a while.
I was, 5 years old? So
you just mean where they sit right here, right now, today for this season is what he's referring to. What you're referring to.
Yes, they have some similarities. We're not doing this historically, they did this or that. I'm talking right now, they do have some similarity.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. And I think that's the big thing about definitely the big thing about the Niners, but with the Kings, we've been talking about it. You asked, are the Kings too one-dimensional? We still kind of need to see it. The only game where I would say they really did a good job of just playing a grimy, gritty game was that Warrior game in Chase Center that they lost without De'Aaron Fox. The 101-102
That's
game.
right. That would have been the one.
That would have been the one that you can point to, as the Kings didn't play their style of offense, but still were able to really just kind of grit and grind and figure out a way to win that game. And they didn't win it. They ultimately didn't win it, which is what ultimately matters. So I want to see the Kings figure. I think in the beginning of the season, there might have been a couple games where, but when you're still figuring yourself out, it's not really fair to count those games. So I think the Kings still need to figure out more ways, more paths to victory, whether that be defensive driven or whether it be just, I want to see what it looks like when the Kings win a game and shoot 35% from three.
So I think there are two games to keep this comparison going. I think there are two games where we can keep this rolling, because you have the Kings against the Blazers was a game where Malik couldn't hit the backside of a barn. They powered through, but they should have won anyway. I would compare that to the Niners. against I believe the Giants, if I'm not mistaken, where that wasn't a great game, but they powered through because they were just a better team.
Right.
But a team that is, hey, pick on somebody your own size, a team that is as good as you, or dare I say better, and things aren't working for you, how can you react to that? For the Kings, it's shooting 3-pointers. For the Niners, it's establishing the run. If you, as good as Brock Purdy has been, if you shut down Christian McCaffrey and just say, beat us in the air, young fella, it doesn't look the same as when it's McCaffrey or, you know what I mean? Now it's a play action. So those are the two things. So if the Niners come out against the Eagles and the Eagles saying, McCaffrey's not beating us, right? And Brock is able to fling that football all around the field, cool.
Good on
just
y'all.
like tomorrow, the Kings come out against the Warriors. It's hype in there. You know what's at stake mentally and literally in terms of the in-season tournament. The first 3 to 5 3-pointers don't fall. Let's say the first 5 don't fall. Now what happens? Now what happens?
Yeah.
Because the Kings are very much that first one falls. We're cooking. We're cooking. When it doesn't, things look a little different.
Yeah, and I mean they have a propensity also to just keep shooting that thing.
Well,
also,
yeah, we
we're
shoot.
We're gonna play the law of averages.
Yeah,
here, okay? This thing might level out. It might not, but we're gonna give it a college try. And I think that's maybe that's it. Maybe the Kings just can't win if they don't hit threes, and it is as simple as that. But that my retort to that would be you're probably not going to win a lot of big playoff games if you're heavily reliant on jump shooting. Like, unless you are historically significantly great, like the Warriors were in the mid 2010s, you're not going to win as a jump shooting team or relying so heavily on jump shots. I think we saw that with the Kings in the playoffs last year. Like they did not look like their offense that they had during the regular season during the playoffs because Kevin Huerter got cold from 3. Keegan Murray was cold from 3 for the first 3 games. Harrison Barnes was nowhere to be seen.
There's no escape valve.
There's no escape valve. There's no alternate route for the Kings to go to besides De'Aaron Fox. Can you just be a superstar and put up 35 plus points and lead us to victory with mid-range jump shots and attacking the rim and getting to the free throw line? It's scary, but I mean, I think that's also sometimes that's NBA basketball. Is sometimes there are nights where your other guys aren't scoring and you do have to rely on stars. And I think the difference is maybe this year the Kings actually do have a superstar that might be able to elevate them and get wins in nights where they're not supposed to win, just simply because De'Aaron Fox is better than everybody else. We just haven't really had to see that kind of performance yet. Though he's had those performances. He just hasn't had to do it in order to get the win.
Right. And taking this back to the kind of Niners side of things, we all know that Brock Purdy is better than Jimmy Garoppolo. But what we also know is that Jimmy did look a lot better once Christian McCaffrey got added to the offense, because when you talk about that escape valve, instead of the Jimmy no throw, it was just do a check down to Christian and let him work, right? What is, I guess, the Kings check down? The Kings check down to McCaffrey is, I guess, Sabonis?
I think it's De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
I think it's De'Aaron getting to the hoop and hopefully getting to the foul line and hopefully
making those
just kind of hopefully making his free throws, which is another part of the questioning of having De'Aaron Fox, like relying that heavily on De'Aaron, especially down the stretch, is, if he's going to get to the line, will he make those shots? I mean, he's been really, really good.
He's been better now.
He's been a lot better than he's been in the past. But yeah, that's definitely a big part of it, because down the stretch, you don't see a lot of Sabonis with the ball in his hand and a lot of, everybody setting each other up. It's a lot more free flowing down the stretch. So I would say, the Kings check down, the Kings safety blanket is probably just De'Aaron making a mid-range jump shot, or I guess you can maybe say Harrison Barnes getting to the free throw line, but we've seen less and less of that this season. So.
Yeah. And if the Kings want to make sure they put it in their hands to get to that knockout round, they will have to take down the Warriors to move forward in the in-season tournament. And my question is to you and the audience, does it feel like it matters any more now than it did when it first got announced at the beginning of the season? Because personally, for me, the answer is yes. I think it matters more. I think that, and I don't know if it's a matter of the courts or whatever it is, I think it definitely matters more, because you are at the stage in the season where you're probably watching this game anyway. I'm not saying you're watching it because it's in season, but I do think it adds to it on top.
Sure.
I think it's a supporting actor. I don't think it's the main character. So I think that's a big part of it. And I think that so far it's been as successful as I think. In a weird way, I can't tell if the in-season tournament is going to get more important or less important. Might be the most important that it will be.
Yeah.
Because you know what I mean? It's a little, because everybody wants to be the
everybody
first.
wants to be super excited about it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think we'll see a rise here in the next couple of seasons as people try and get to the hump of like, oh, we won it. I think the thing that's going to determine how much staying power it has is how much relevance it ends up having to the overall story of the season. Like,
right.
Again, if with the Orlando Magic win the in-season tournament because they're hot right now, but then they make the 9 seed as the playoffs and don't even make it to the actual playoff itself, you know, people might say, oh, maybe the in-season tournament doesn't mean as much, if that makes sense. I think as it's happening right now, I agree with you. I definitely think it feels a lot more significant now than it did when the announcement happened. But I think the overall staying power of this thing is going to be how much does it actually matter in the grand scheme.
It's messed up to say, and we got to get to a break, but it's messed up to say, and I hate to even say it, but could you say that one of the big names, it would be better for the NBA, and I'm speaking as an NBA exec,
sure,
that it would be better for a big name to win it the inaugural year.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, hey, LeBron won an in-season tournament.
Right.
Or Steph won an in-season tournament. Because I think the fear is if a Orlando Magic, unfortunately, I would put the Kings right on the cusp, but put them in that category. If this turns into the JV Jamboree, and it's just always teams that are on their way up, those fans would still be happy about it. But if it's like the Pacers win it or the Magic win it or it
becomes like the Summer League championship.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, we won the Summer.
Exactly.
Okay.
The Thunder won it this year. So I obviously I would love for the Kings to win it, but I am curious if maybe the NBA, they always want big names to win things, but it's like that level. I feel like the Kings are right on that level to where it's like, okay, we'd love for a big name to win it. It wouldn't be that bad if the Kings won it, but you can't have, I would say, the Pacers, Magic, you can't have somebody like that. You could, and to Whitey, this was Whitey's prediction, the Hawks, I guess, you get Trey Young in there.
I don't think
I think the Mavericks, they'd be very happy with the Mavericks getting Luka in some games that matter, but I do think that it will be tough. All right, got to get to a break. When we get back, Hassan Reddick, that's right, my T for Temple U, my Temple brethren, had some things to say about Niners Eagles, and he did not mince words. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
At Good Guys Heating and Cooling, we're turning the tables on those Grinches. Right now, enjoy our holiday special offer of $49 tune-up or troubleshooting appointment, normally valued at $99. So if your old heater sounds like this, don't let the Grinches ruin your holiday cheer. Call Good Guys Heating and Cooling at 530-GOOD-AIR now to schedule your $49 special before it's too late. Because when it comes to your comfort, we won't let the Grinches steal the warmth. Good Guys Heating and Cooling. Best service, best price, guaranteed. And that's no bull. This is number 1057618.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
I always approach the holidays with a sense of excitement and a time to be with family. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa for Naturewood Home Furnishings. For me, the best times were when there were 3 generations all celebrating together. Today, we're the grandparents, and the holiday spotlight shines on my grandson. And I hope he'll remember holidays the way his papa does. Right now, Naturewood Home Furnishings will help you create your own kind of holiday memories during their holiday home sale. Unique gifts found only at Naturewood, like hall trees, curios, chairside tables, and more, are available at savings of 20% off. During Naturewood's holiday home sale, you'll find savings all around the store for every room in your home. Find your perfect bit of Christmas for your home at Naturewood Home Furnishings Holiday Home Sale, going on right now. The memories you make with your family will live with you forever. Naturewood Home Furnishings off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
In order for small businesses to thrive, they need to be smart, efficient, savvy, staying ahead of the market at every turn, finding ways to do more with less, and taking advantage of every opportunity that comes their way. That's why Comcast Business is introducing the Small Business Bonus. For a limited time, you can get up to a $1,000 prepaid card when you switch to Comcast Business, the company with the largest, fastest, reliable network. Yep, you heard that right. 1,000 back. Something extra for your company. From the company that powers more businesses than anyone else. So if you're a small business owner, don't wait. Call or go online to learn about the $1,000 bonus today. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 12/5/2023. New customers with 750 megabits per second or above and 2-year agreement must keep required new services for 30 days to receive prepaid card. Other restrictions apply.
KHTKAM HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. Talking Niners, talking Kings. A lot to get into all week, really. It is a version of a rivalry week here at Sactown Sports, starting with the Kings and Warriors tomorrow. And, you know, I didn't mean to, and we can talk more about it tomorrow, but these last couple of games against the Warriors, you have, Chris, played it down a decent bit.
What are you talking
about? No. There's been a lot of, and we get it. It's just one game. And I'll never forget we did one of our warm-up shows where I was still auditioning.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the preseason game with De'Aaron Fox, right? And we're not counting that, but they've lost their last 3 games. 4 if you count that preseason. And
no one is.
With a Steph made that was the last second shot, right?
Yes.
Because he went night-night during the preseason.
Right, during the preseason.
Yes,
I'd already blocked that out because it didn't matter. Like I said at the time.
And De'Aaron Fox says, I was hoping that he made it so we can get out of there. Yep. So, you know, you played that one down.
I did.
You played down the first game, too. And we were all happy with their effort from the game in Chase with no De'Aaron Fox. Where are you at with this game tomorrow night and how much it matters? If let's say the Kings lose again, right? Are you still in the camp of, I think you said, hey, I was making dinner, watching the game, and I just continued to make dinner and watch the game.
That's what happened.
At this point in time, will this be the one, if they don't get it done, it's going to hurt a little bit?
Yeah, this is the one. This is definitely the one. This is definitely the one where, for all the lack of emotion I put into those previous ones, I'll put excess emotion into this one.
I'm not trying to put you in a bad spot.
No, I mean, I really do believe that this is, I'm a big, narrative going into the game kind of guy. And I just really think that there's a lot of really big narratives heading into this game that I kind of believe matter. I think the fact that it's the in-season tournament, it does matter a little bit. I think it does give a little bit juice. Of course, the fact that it's the Warriors and the Kings haven't beaten the Warriors in the last 3 times they've played them in meaningful games. that they haven't won. I think that that's incredibly meaningful. And I think if they start 0-3 against the Warriors, that means they lose the season series already to Golden State. I think, does that mean that the Kings can't beat the Warriors in a 7-game series? No, it doesn't. But I just think that that's not the way that you would want to follow up that 7-game series. I feel like the Kings were a better team than the Warriors in the last year's playoffs. I felt like going into this year, the Kings were the better team over the Warriors. And it would be really disappointing to, at the end of this season, say, at the bare minimum, the Kings lost 3 games to the Warriors. That's not ideal, and that's not mentally a good thing to try and get over. That should be a team that you should feel good. You should feel comfortable. I'm not saying you have to feel confident, but you should feel comfortable going into those matchups. And if the Warriors have the mental advantage of just feeling like, or the Kings feeling like they can't get over that hump, that's obviously not good. So yeah, I think that there's a lot of outside factors that are going to play into this game that are pretty much all narrative based. Like I don't know how much is actually going to play out on the floor, but I do think heading into the game, there's a lot of narratives that can be either proven or silenced a little by the Kings' performance.
Yeah, and if you're just now tuning in, update, Keegan Murray a full go
in practice.
At practice today. So the Kings could be fully loaded, so no excuses. The narrative thing you bring up, I think, is huge because all games are not created equal. All 82 are not created equal in season tournament or not, right? It's hard for people, and people have this idea because they don't watch a lot of Kings basketball. They only get to watch some of the nationally televised games. And I'll tell you this much, for all the NBA voters and writers and everybody that has a say in this, it's hard for me to believe if Steph Curry continues to play like this, even if De'Aaron Fox is playing better, it's hard for me to believe that people, just based on optics, that's what life is all about.
TNT game tomorrow.
It's hard for me to believe that writers will vote De'Aaron Fox over a guy like Steph Curry. If the numbers are similar, right? Let's say in favor of De'Aaron, but Steph has the head-to-head, as silly as that sounds. It matters.
No, I agree. I definitely
matters.
agree, especially from the national perspective.
Yeah, I do not know how much every NBA writer watches every single game. I don't know. I just don't know.
I can tell you that it's, at least from like the Kings perspective, there's no way that any national writer who's not Sam Amick or Anthony Slater watches more than 41. Like, there's no way they watch more than half the games. For sure. And they're maybe watching half of the national TV games at that. So, and this is definitely going to be one of them. Right. Absolutely. I mean, you have the in-season tournament-ness of the importance. You have the Kings Warriors. You have the fact that it's national TV on TNT. There's going to be a lot of eyeballs on this game, and a lot of people, especially nationally, are going to be writing about the Kings for the next month or month and a half, based on the performance of today. Like, if Sabonis has a stinker against the Warriors tomorrow, going to be, he can't figure. I don't care if Sabonis has had 13 good games this season. He had 2 bad ones against the Warriors, and this just shows, again, I will never respect this man. No matter what he does, he can average a 30-point triple-double, and it won't matter to me. So that's frankly, I mean, like you said, no games are created equal. That's why this game, these Warrior matchups, they're not created the same for the Kings, because there's so much that goes into it from their side, from these matchups, that it's why it's so big for them to win. Because if they want to get respect, everybody outside of Sacramento says, okay, that's fine, but we still think that the Warriors are better than you. We still think the Lakers are better than you. The Kings have to beat these teams on the national stage like they did to the Lakers the other week, in order for people to stop bringing those things up. And it's stupid. If you watch the Kings every game, you probably don't think that's fair or even right, but that's just how it is they only watch national TV games and games that they feel like matter.
It's stupid, but in a way it's not, because
you can't blame them,
because these games generate money, right? And it's as weird as it sounds, an MVP, it's, hey, you performed on days that generated us more money. It's all a business.
Yes.
Because as somebody like you who follows the Minnesota Vikings, you had Mr. 10 a.m. merchant himself Kirk Cousins, who couldn't do a daggone thing in primetime games. He finally got the win against the Niners.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
So there's that whole situation going on. So it does matter. You cannot put up part of it, whether it's, we don't know. It's very interesting because it's just a year of, for lack of a better term, mediocrity. Because in the NFL, you always just give it to a quarterback, when in reality, this could be the year that you don't.
Yep.
The Heisman, people are saying Marvin Harrison Jr. because all the quarterbacks.
No one wants to give it to Bo Nix, really.
Because he's a grown man. He's 37 years old. Nobody wants to give it to Bo Nix. He needs to hang out with Harrison Barnes and get his account right. Make sure he wears a suit because he's got a mortgage to pay for. And you have, and then you had Jordan Travis with FSU. His leg completely messed up. So he's done. So it's a really weird year. And these days matter. These games matter more. And as much as I don't agree with it, I also do, because it's all a part of generating. It's almost like a congratulations in part with your stat for playing well on a game that mattered a lot to the league.
Yeah, totally.
So, the Kirk Cousins gotcha.
Yeah.
He's a 10 a.m. merchant.
Yeah, he really was.
I mean,
it's
so you don't want the Kings to be you don't want the
bad.
Kings to be league pass merchants.
No, exactly. And you bringing that up makes me like, how much could De'Aaron benefit from having a 40+ point game when it comes to the De'Aaron Fox MVP case?
Yes.
If De'Aaron scores 40+ against the Warriors and the Kings win and they clinch the in-season tournament, and it's solely because De'Aaron Fox, I guarantee next week we will be reading NBA.com MVP ladder. De'Aaron goes from not even in the top 10 to maybe number 6 or number 5. That's really the kind of importance that I feel like tomorrow's game has. And also, the Kings play a back-to-back. It's not going to be on national TV, but they play the Clippers on Wednesday as well. That's not going to be, that's not just going to be a game that goes by the wayside, even though the Clippers aren't performing well. Like, that's going to be on NBA TV. So the Kings are going to be on national TV, back-to-back games. Like, it's a real opportunity for them to make a real statement against 2 divisional opponents as well.
This is one of the toughest stretches that the Kings are going to have.
So tough.
The East Coast is tough for different reasons, right?
Travel plays into it.
So they're 4-2 right now. They're 4-2 on this road trip. Now you have this homestand, and I'm just going to count. No disrespect to the Nets, but I'm only going to count the next 3. Shout out Bridges, but I'm only going to count the next 3 games. I don't want to put you on the spot right now, and I'm going to try to milk this so we can get to the break here. But just get your thoughts ready on what you think the Kings are going to do.
Yeah, for sure.
These next 3 games, because just for everybody listening, you got a back-to-back. The Warriors tomorrow night. The Clippers Wednesday, then Friday, that bad man comes to town, the Denver Nuggets, and the Denver Nuggets have just found ways to win. Michael Porter Jr. starting to figure some things out. Jokic is Jokic. You have a lot of people say Sabonis is a bootleg Jokic. Yep. What does he do there? So that's a tough 3-game stretch, and really a tough 9-game stretch for them. Right. And not to disrespect the Nets, they're not going to roll over either. No. So this is a tough 10-game stretch for the Kings. So I want you. So we already did the prediction for the road trip.
Yep.
I won, but we really, we both. You said 5-1 to be different.
I did.
Okay. To the 6-0ers out there, appreciate you. It was looking good for a second. It really was. Simone, what did you have? You were 4-2?
No, 3-3.
Come on.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
First Aisha. Now 3-3. All right.
Definitely a bad Monday for Simone.
Okay, so the Mondays is making a return. All right, got to get to a break. When we get back, your thoughts for the next 3 games for the Kings. What are your expectations? Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
2 of the best the NFL and NFC has to offer meet Sunday in Philadelphia.
Purdy out of the shotgun, looks left, throws end zone. Caught! George Kittle in the back of the end zone.
It's the Philadelphia Eagles, owners of the top spot in the NFC, versus the San Francisco 49ers, who have had this game circled on their calendar for months. Join Greg Papa and Tim Ryan for all the exciting action Sunday at 1 on your home for 49ers football, Sactown Sports.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Get year-end pricing during Happy Honda Days at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on our entire selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Ridgeline Civics, and Accords. Plus, with low finance and lease options, now's the time to buy. Hurry in and save during Happy Honda Days at Folsom Lake Honda, or go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Sactown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m., 1:45. We'll have the crossover with Draper and Henry Turner. That'll be a fun one as we break down our expectations for the Kings the next 3 games. Now, we want get them in as well. If you want to be a part of the conversation, 916-339-1140. Expectations for the next 3 games for your Sacramento Kings. You have the Warriors tomorrow night, the Clippers on Wednesday, back-to-back, and then you have the Nuggets. You actually have the Nuggets on Saturday, not Friday. So
okay.
You don't play the Nuggets
That's
until
good.
Saturday.
Get some rest.
And we'll just stop there. They actually have a couple. It gets a little easier after that, just for those listening. You get the Nets. Then after that, you get the Nets, the Clippers again, then the Thunder, who are nothing to sneeze at. Then you get the Jazz and the Wizards. So a little bit of a break there, and then things get tough for you again. End of December, the Celtics come to town, and then after that, the Phoenix Suns come to town. That's the 20th and the 22nd. Then after that, back-to-back, actually, with the Suns and the Timberwolves. So you don't get any breathing room there.
Tough way to end the year, yeah.
Until the day after Christmas, where you face off against the Blazers. And then you get the Hawks and then the Grizzlies, who would Ja be back by then?
He should be back, yeah.
So there's just, we know that's how the Western Conference is. The good thing is you get a couple Eastern Conference games mixed in there, but not going to be easy. But let's just stick to the 3 right here immediately, which is coming down the road, because we're not going to do the Nets, because I know everybody's going to say,
of course, that's a win. That's a win.
So next 3 games, Warriors come to Golden One, then the Clippers back to back, and then you get the Nuggets on Saturday.
I kind of want to say 3-0. I really do. I really think that the Nuggets aren't, like, stylistically, I don't think they're that big of a challenge for the Kings. I think the Clippers are a team that struggled all year long. They do have the star power, but they're so disjointed and don't have an identity. I feel like a Kings team that knows their identity should be able to at home handle a team like the Clippers. The Warrior game is to me, honestly, I do think that that's the biggest challenge that they face in this homestand. You could argue the Nuggets for obvious reasons, but I just think the fact that everything we've laid out, the Warriors clearly have their number. The Warriors are not afraid of the Kings at all. There is extra stakes on the line with this being the in-season tournament game, and the Kings have to win in order to officially clinch their spot. Like, there's a lot of pressure on that game, and that's the one that, if I had to pick, it feels like I could see the Kings losing that one and maybe sweeping the rest of the homestand. But I'm going to say 3-0. I do feel like that's definitely a homer pick for sure. I can't even say I'm trying not to be a homer. It's definitely a homer pick, but I'm going to say 3-0 because I do think that the Kings are definitely capable of being that level of team.
3-0.
You wanted me to say something different.
No.
1 and 2.
No, I like optimistic Watkins.
Yeah,
I like
Appreciate
optimistic Watkins. Simone.
Yeah.
Did you learn from your mistakes?
Simone, 1 and 2.
I think 3 and 3 was honestly the right.
Simone, 0 and 3.
By the way,
I got a bad feeling. About the Clippers. Actually, that back-to-back is where it's kind of itching me. So I'm gonna go 2 and 3, please. I'm gonna be really optimistic about this. Everyone's gonna give it all they got tomorrow night.
2 and 1.
Oh, sorry. Yes,
2 and 1.
Yeah,
okay.
math is hard. 2 and 1.
3 got 3 and 0 from Chris. 2 and 1.
Yeah.
From Simone, with the L coming on the back-to-back to the Clippers.
Yes, surprisingly.
Another great.
You kind of took
that's what happened in New Orleans.
You kind of took my swag there, Simone. But the question is, and I'm seeing it on the YouTube chat as well, about Jamal Murray. Would he be back against the Nuggets?
I believe. There's obviously no official word yet, but when he got hurt at the beginning of November,
it was a month.
They said for the remainder of the month. So it'll probably be one of those where, if he's feeling up to it, obviously he'll play. But also at this point, I would say probably not, because I'd imagine he's got to have to get some reconditioning.
They take things slow with him
for sure. And exactly.
Yeah.
He's a guy who's had a checkered injury history as well. So if I had to guess, they probably won't have Jamal Murray for that game as well. So
he could return this week, is what Shams is saying.
Could.
Yes, from his right hamstring injury, depending on how he feels, which is all pretty straight
generic,
up. So I guess we won't know. But for the sake of this drill, I won't include him.
Yeah.
Because
of course, if he plays, that definitely changes.
If he plays, and again, he's still getting ramped up too. So I'm not really including Jamal in my thought process. The Kings and Niners have been pulling a lot of parallels, because I think that this game means much more. I think that both the Eagles and the Warriors are playing with house money. Yes. I think that this game means way more to the Kings than it does to the Warriors, and I think the Warriors know that.
Yep.
And I think the Eagles know that this game means way more to the Niners than it does to them. Now, how you perform from that side can be really different, because if you are, hey, these guys can come, they're gonna bring the heat, their fans are gonna be crazy, and we're just here chilling. We just got to make sure. And if I'm the Warriors, this is my thought process. Keep it, I wouldn't even say 10. Keep it within 15 going into the fourth, and we like our chances.
Yep.
Now, is that
with
realistic?
put the pressure on the Kings, make them win that game.
Right.
Don't just, have it be by default. Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's what people say in the playoffs anyway, that the Kings are going to have to win this game before the fourth quarter, which I don't know if they can, to be completely honest with you, with everything going on. I hope that they can, but I don't know. I just think where they're at mentally when it comes to the Warriors, and I think the Kings know that, and I think the Warriors know that. Yep. They do not want this game to get close.
No, absolutely
they
not.
don't.
No, because, we can all see how that movie's going to play out. Now, the Kings might still end up winning the game, but to the point, you just don't want it to even be a game. That's what you're getting at, is by the third quarter, you want the Warriors to be all but dusted, and when they do make their cute little run in the fourth quarter, it still shouldn't matter, is where it's at, because, you don't want a team that, again, it kind of brings up the playoff conversation where you're going against this team that has the most experience maybe of any team in the NBA, and you're the Kings, who almost have the least bit of experience of anybody in the NBA. And when you put that into a pressure cooker and an important clinching situation, a lot of times we've seen the movie play out where the team that's up by 15 and has all the pressure in the world on them starts to feel that pressure. And then the team that's playing with house money just kind of easily slips into a catastrophic meltdown. And it's more so about the Kings losing than the Warriors winning.
And if you're the Warriors, even if we lose to y'all, we already beat y'all twice anyway.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's what the Eagles are going to say too.
We'll just see you in a couple months.
Yep.
Right. So to me, I hate to caveat it like this, but I think that if the Kings beat the Warriors, they go 3-0. I think that if they lose to the Warriors, I would be really worried about that game against the Clippers, because you don't have a lot of time.
That's also a lot of mental,
exactly.
You go from an emotional high of entering in that Tuesday game, and then if you don't get the result, you then have to pick yourself back up for that Wednesday game.
That's right.
A Clipper team that's also looking to pick up some wins.
I think you beat the Warriors, you go 3-0. You lose to the Warriors, and don't hate me.
Is there a chance for
I think you're going
0-3?
I don't think you're going 0-3 because you have a break.
Okay.
And the Nuggets,
but then you got a break and you're playing the Nuggets.
But they just don't make sense to me, though. Yeah. The roster, they should not be winning like this.
The depth of the Kings should put them over the top.
That's what
of course,
thinking.
Of course, Jokic is more than capable of doing 35, 12, and 15 or something. But Reggie Jackson. We were talking about Reggie Jackson earlier. He shouldn't put up enough to make that a problem. Michael Porter Jr. shouldn't put enough to make that game into a problem. That game should be Jokic can kill us, but Aaron Gordon's not. And, whatever. KCP's not going to kill us tonight either.
Right.
I can see the Nuggets are going to be stopping off in Phoenix the night before, too.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that's
so
great.
They're going to have their hands full.
That's
Friday
fair.
night in Phoenix and then to us and a big roadie. So
there you go.
Great work, Simone. Fantastic. So the Kings have Wednesday to Saturday off, but the Nuggets are flying in on a back-to-back from Phoenix Friday to Saturday.
Right. So I would say the Kings beat the Warriors. They go 3-0. They lose to the Warriors. Unfortunately, I'm going to say they go 1-2. I just think it's a lot in 2 days. It's a big turnaround.
Yeah.
I just think that's how much the Warriors game matters, to be honest.
Yeah. I think you could even argue 0-3. I mean, if they lose to the Warriors again, I think it's going to be really tough to just pick yourself back up the next night and say, this is the NBA.
I'm saying they beat I'm saying the Kings beat Denver.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, they beat Denver.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that the issue would be the back-to-back.
Okay.
And then they pick themselves up. They have a couple days to clear their head, and Denver coming off tires.
For sure.
So I think they beat Denver either way.
Nice.
But I think that beating the Clippers is based on now. The only argument to go 2-1 would be you kind of blew it out with the Warriors, and you just don't have the horses, which is why Simone took my answer. So, good for you, Simone. So that 2-1 is definitely in play, but for the sake of giving us three different scenarios, I would say that if you lose to the Warriors, that's a quick turnaround. And, the Clippers are going to be.
They got star power. That's what I hear about the Clippers is they allegedly have.
You keep hearing it.
They have a lot of stars. So,
it's
never going to be easy.
Hollywood.
The Clippers are very confusing.
It'll be really interesting. I actually secretly can't kind of wait for Wednesday. I want to see that team in person. I just want to see how they operate, not necessarily, on the floor, of course, but going into timeouts and, do they yell at each other? Is there divisions on is Russell Westbrook sitting at the end of the bench while Kawhi and Harden sit next to each other at the front of the bench? Those kind of things. I cannot wait for Wednesday for those reasons. Just messy.
Right. It's just the gift that keeps on giving with them.
It's so good.
It really is.
And I don't know how you could possibly think that putting James Harden and Russell Westbrook on a team with Kawhi and Paul George is going to be something that makes sense.
Now Russell is back to I don't play that much, and you can't blame Russell Westbrook. And another one, you talk about these interesting careers. We were talking about somebody during the break, and Kawhi, just a team of really interesting careers, all Hall of Fame.
All of them, really. All of them have really interesting
injury. And Paul George,
biggest
too,
injury of them all,
right?
arguably.
Paul George, weird career. Kawhi, weird career. Westbrook, weird career. James Harden. It's like the land of
misfit toys
out there. And
Andy's room.
Yeah, exactly. And they think, if you think James Harden is Buzz Lightyear, then you got a problem. I'll tell you that much. The Toy Story 7, I don't want to watch that. Got to get to a break. When we get back, we're talking more Kings. We're talking more Niners. And Tom Brady had something to say. And Alex Smith, 49er, great, claps back. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
It's that time of year again. Sactown Sports is welcoming Santa back to town for the 40th annual Santa Parade, Saturday, December 9th in downtown Sacramento. Grab the family and join us as we celebrate Santa's arrival with marching bands, superheroes, cheer squads, and more. Parade starts at 10 a.m. at 14th and N.
We'll see you Saturday, December 9th in downtown for the Santa Parade with Shriners Children's Northern California, California National Guard, and Attic Man Heating and Air Conditioning. Get more information at SactownSports.com.
Winter is coming. I know you know that, but are you prepared to keep your family warm all season long? At American Energy Heating and Air, their goal is to exceed your expectations of the heating and air industry by valuing the customer experience and making your home comfort system as efficient as possible for the most value. So book your $49 furnace tune-up and safety inspection today. Prevent dangerous gas leaks. Extend the life of that furnace and save on your energy bills. And here's the guarantee. This isn't a sales call. They're not getting in the door so they can try to sell you a bunch of stuff. No, they're just going to do what they say they're going to do. Call today to schedule an appointment at 916-520-9990 or go to AmericanEnergyAir.com. Been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. A-plus Better Business Bureau rating. Get your $49 furnace tune-up and safety inspection today. 916-520-9990. American Energy, making the uncomfortable comfortable.
Who has the largest selection of golf merchandise in Northern California? The Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. It's the go-to store for golf bags, apparel, equipment, lessons, club fittings, novelty items, and more. With their low price guarantee, complimentary gift boxes, and gift cards for your golfer, it's the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Add convenient online shopping and effortless after-Christmas return policy, and you'll see why the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop is the #1 choice for golfers everywhere. Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway or online at hagenoaks.com.
At Jim Boy's Tacos, you get a ho lot of flavor for under $10. Our classic #2 combo meal spreads cheer with a farm-dusted ground beef taco, scratch-made bean and cheese burrito, and a soft drink. So jingle on down to Jim Boy's or order online at participating locations.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you target the right audience, build your leads, and crush your quota. Take your business to the next level. Our digital marketing strategies help grow awareness of your product or service, all while building trust in your business. Our approach involves leveraging multiple tools and strategies to deliver exceptional results that are customized to your unique business needs. Don't wait to run out of sales leads. Keep your business growing. Get started with aimyourdigital.com today.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports. One more segment with you before we chat with the Drive guys featuring Henry Turner as Whitey is still gallivanting around Asia. Was it Japan?
I think it's
Japan. I believe so.
He posted a picture the other day.
He's been posted
on Twitter. I can't remember what he said, but I was like, this guy
enjoying
his best life.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes. Live your best life. Can't wait to have you back there, Whitey. As you know, I'm seeing some things on the YouTube chat, Chris, and the question is, Paul George as a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So in the segment prior, we talked about the Clippers with 4 Hall of Famers on their team. I don't know if everybody knows this, and I get it, but everybody makes it into the NBA Hall of Fame. Exactly. It is not the NFL Hall of Fame. It is not even Major League. I'm not trying to get into about Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, but NBA's Hall of Fame is much easier to get into. I think Paul George would definitely be in the conversation. I don't know. I don't think he's first ballot or anything like that, but go look up the NBA Hall of Fame, and there will be names of players that are not good as Paul George. I'll put it to you like that.
Yeah, exactly. And if I'm looking at the Basketball Reference has it for all their sports, but I'm looking. They have like a Hall of Fame probability percentage thing, and of course, guys like LeBron and Kevin Durant, Chris Paul,
99,
100. No, they're 100. Right. They're in the Hall of Fame. There's guys like James Harden, who's 99%. Russell Westbrook's 99.3.
Okay, if they're 90, let me guess that.
Yes. So where do you think Paul George? Yeah. So I found Paul George, and yeah, I'll fill
okay,
in the
if
rest.
they're 99,
if they are 99%,
I want to guess too.
Go ahead, Simone.
You want me to start it?
No, I'll go.
Okay.
If they're 99, I'm telling you, everybody makes it. He's got to be 70%. I cannot go under 70.
Yeah.
Simone?
I'd like 89.
You guys are both wrong. It's 94%.
That's what I'm saying.
And this is
I
according
tried
to Basketball
trying to
Reference.
talk me out of it.
I'm going to put people who are like here are people who are in the same, we'll just do the same 10 as Paul George.
Sure.
Damian Lillard, 70. Giannis is 71 in terms of like, this is not
now.
percentage.
Yeah.
This is number like 70th all time. So Dame is at 96%. Giannis is at 96%. Jerry Lucas, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, and then it's Paul George. And so guys who they have by their metric, I don't know how they calculate it. I don't know if it's all-stars, all-NBAs, MVP, top fives. But they have Paul George above guys like Tony Parker, Kyrie Irving, Pau Gasol, Lonzo Mourning. They have him currently at this exact moment in time. Like if this guy whatever left the universe, went back onto his alien ship, they have Nikola Jokic at 90% making the Hall of Fame. So they have Paul George by their numbers as a bigger lock to make the Hall of Fame.
But that's just because
than Nikola Jokic if he retires right
now.
Here,
Yes,
now.
it's all based on right
if
now.
If he just stopped playing right here. He's also, mind you, not even the most wild Hall of Fame case on the team, as Kawhi Leonard has a 78% Hall of Fame chance according to Basketball Reference.
Wow.
So there you go. I mean,
two-time champ.
His own teammate. Like, I think, let me just read off Paul George's accolades. 8-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, 4-time All-NBA defense, 2023 Most Improved Player, All-Rookie. He was a steals champ in 18-19. And he's played how many seasons now? He's played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's played over 10 seasons, though, 12 seasons or so. So
wow.
Yeah. 14. He's played 14 seasons. So, there's
you said
also
94?
94% Hall of Fame probability according to Basketball Reference, which is 78th all time.
Who is at give me a name. This has got to get
all-time.
hilarious. Do they have like 70? Because I said 70%.
Yeah.
Who's at 70% right now?
At 70% on the
GP2.
This is actually hilarious, and it's probably going to make this list a little bit less reputable. But at 70% on the dot is Klay Thompson.
Dang. That's a rough
Who is
go.
behind guys like Jimmy Butler, Kevin Love, Draymond Green. And I think that's more factoring in stats and not so much emotions. Like we view Klay as, we know Klay has, we also have to know that Klay sacrificed stats when KD was there in order for him to, be elevated. So, some of that is definitely, this is just a calculation. So definitely numbers are heavily involved and not so much emotion. But yeah, Klay Thompson is somebody who they have at 70% along with guys like Amari Stoudemire, Jimmy Butler, Kevin Love, Dennis Rodman, Sean Marion.
Dennis Rodman, 70%.
Dennis Rodman at 75%.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's something else.
Yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with it, but I definitely do agree with the fact that I think Paul George is a Hall of Famer. Like you're talking about a guy who's outside of KD and LeBron, probably the best forward of what we've had in this, from the 2010s, I guess, on. Like I would say Paul George has consistently been a top 5 small forward in the league. And, it kind of depends on what position you want to put Giannis at. But I think Paul George has kind of been, he's definitely been underrated for his career, but he's also just been somebody who's always on the next best team. Like he had those years with the Pacers where, they were a real legitimate threat to the Heat, but they weren't the Heat. And so, they were only able to present a big enough challenge as they were capable of doing. And then even in that OKC season with Russell Westbrook, finished top 5 in MVP. And not a lot of people wanted to talk about it because that was, I think that was Russ's triple-double season, but Paul George was fantastic that year as well. So I believe Paul George is a Hall of Famer. I don't know if I would have him over guys like Klay and Kawhi and things like that, but I still do believe Paul George is a Hall of Famer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, they'll all get in. That's what I'm saying, everybody. We said it.
Yeah.
We said it. I said 4 Hall of Famers, and YouTube chat tried to come down our road, and
I mean,
I'm telling you, man.
He's more of a Hall of Famer than Kyrie Irving is, in my opinion. No, I don't know. That's just a random name I throw out there,
I'd
but
probably
that's
agree
probably
with that.
like where the same tier I would have it in.
Yeah.
And I would put him above that. And then it's, if you want to say, oh, he didn't have a ring. Well, I don't know. There's tons of guys from this. James Harden is.
Then we start playing around with, put Paul George on the Cavs and he'd have a ring. You know what I mean? So that's what gets sticky. Wow, that is really interesting.
It's interesting for sure.
All right.
So I'm gonna say you can say 4 Hall of Famers on the Clippers.
Yes, it is safe to say 4 Hall of Famers. 916. Thank you. Yes, Dennis Rodman is already in the Hall of Fame. Yes, we were just talking about the percentage points.
We know that.
Or the percentage that he was going to get in.
Yes.
I guess how does it even work? Over 50%. You're in.
I haven't.
It has to be under 50, right?
Let me see where the lowest percentage number is here. That actually, according to, these, I don't even know if these are necessarily percentages, but they're just. They have some pretty low percentage.
Is Harrison Barnes on there anywhere?
Harrison Barnes is not.
No, we can find Harrison.
But I see Page is on here at 11%. But Chris Webber made it at 12%. I don't know. This is also I would again like to emphasize that this heavily factors in numbers and not emotions and being in the moment and understanding. Chris Webber took a team to the Western Conference Finals as the best player on that team and things like that. Like they have Kemba Walker having a similar Hall of Fame percentage.
Just to, because it is Warriors week, just to kind of rile up Kings fans. What is Draymond Green at?
Draymond Green was above Klay Thompson. So Draymond is, according to Basketball Reference, 99th all time, 76% Hall of Fame probability.
Wow. Yeah. So when the Hall of Famers come to town tomorrow night, the big 3, Kings fans, the Beam regime, will you be ready? Will you be ready? Wow. That is great.
It's something for sure. It's definitely part of the that's what makes basketball so great though, as well, is that you can have those conversations about Hall of Famers and have it be so nuanced and have it be, I don't necessarily think that people are wrong. I don't think people are wrong for saying those things. I think that's what makes basketball so great, is that you can really have an individual argument, or you can have what this guy meant legacy wise, what he meant to his team. Like not any other sport is really built like that. Like in just about every other sport, it's numbers, and that's kind of the end all be all.
Yeah. All right. Got to get to a break. When we get back, crossover with the Drive guys, Henry Turner in for Whitey Gleason, Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.
At Ashton & Price, over the last 25 years, we've won just about every injury case you can think of. Slip and fall, falling merchandise, fell through rotted decking, we won those. Dangerous stairs, falls into holes, dog bites, won them. Injured while pedestrian or on a bicycle, auto, motorcycle, big rig, company vehicle, Uber, or Lyft accident, we've won them all. And the best news is there's no fee until you win. So no matter how you got injured,
remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
The sewer system. It's probably the last thing on your mind, and that's okay. Because at the Sacramento Area Sewer District, it's our first priority. As the region's largest sewer utility, we own and maintain thousands of miles of sewer pipe. And our job is to get to your sewer problem before it interrupts your life. So whether you've got a slow drain or a backup, call us first, day or night. The Sacramento Area Sewer District. It's a dirty job, but we're happy to do it.
O'Reilly. See better and drive safer with new bulbs from O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get a better view of the road and save. Receive a $15 O'Reilly gift card after rebate plus 2 times old rewards points with the purchase of Sylvania Silver Star Ultra or select ZXE Twin Pack bulbs. Replace your old bulbs and see better. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Kevin Lewis of National Garage Door. Whether you need to repair a broken spring, install a new opener, or buy a quality Rainer door, National Garage Door is here for you. Call us today to see how we can transform your house with a new garage door.
638-4554 National Garage Door.
2 of the best the NFL and NFC has to offer meet Sunday in Philadelphia.
Purdy out of the shotgun, looks left, throws end zone. Caught! George Kittle in the back of the end zone.
It's the Philadelphia Eagles, owners of the top spot in the NFC, versus the San Francisco 49ers, who have had this game circled on their calendar for months. Join Greg Papa and Tim Ryan for all the exciting action Sunday at 1 on your home for 49ers football, Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports, here with the one and only Kyle Draper. Mr. Draper, how you doing?
Make sure Simone gets my mic up. Simone, all right,
there we go.
You know what it is? It's
What?
Eagles hate right here. They know I'm an Eagles fan,
Yeah.
so they're like, "Oh, we're gonna keep his mic down."
Yeah.
Silence.
This is the big one. This is the big one this week. Niners, Eagles, right? How are you feeling? I mean, Hassan Reddick had some things to say, of course, and very similar. Me and Chris were pulling kind of comparisons of the Niners, Eagles to Kings, Warriors, and that the Kings want this, I think, more than the Warriors. And I think the Niners want this more than the Eagles.
100%.
Yeah.
It's a big game, yes. But even if the Eagles lose, they're still in the driver's seat, you know? That's why I thought yesterday's win over Buffalo was so massive. It was so massive.
Yeah.
And so the Niners, we heard it just now in the promo for it. They've had this game circled ever since last year and since they lost. For the Eagles, when you beat Kansas City, when you beat Buffalo, it's like, all right, bring on San Fran. You know, we're ready for you too.
Right.
And so it's a big game, but you know what? It's just another one they got to check off. Really.
Right. And, I mean, really, the gauntlet is crazy because I think the one thing I'll say is that if the Niners get this, the rest of their schedule is not cupcakey, but it ain't.
Who talking about the Niners?
The Niners.
Yeah.
After this, they have the Seahawks again.
They got one against Baltimore.
They got
Baltimore
Christmas.
Yeah.
And then if you're the Eagles, you still got the Cowboys. You still got the rest of this gauntlet. So it's going to be a huge one, man. It's going to be a huge one. And you got your Eagles ready. The fight song is ready to go.
Man, it's, when I saw the schedule, I thought, all right, this 4-game stretch with KC, Buffalo, Niners, and Dallas.
Yeah.
2-2 would be good if you're filling up. Dude, they might go 3-1, 4-0. Like that, they're playing with house money almost to an extent now. And so I'm fired up. You know who Gilly is, right? You know Gilly. Did you see his video after they beat the Chiefs?
No.
Oh my God, dude! I played it for the kids. Go look it up. It is the best. It
Yeah.
is a true Eagles fan, and that's how we all feel right now about our squad. Really. So, no, I'm fired up.
Well, to take you back to the Kings here in Sacramento and the big game that's coming up tomorrow night. I mean, you had Draymond talking about, okay, the Game 7 atmosphere. What? How can we even explain what it's going to be like? And are you worried at all about the Kings maybe pressing early because of the atmosphere?
I'm not worried about that. I want them pressing early. I don't want them to come out all cool, calm, and collected. We saw what happened the other night in Minnesota. They weren't necessarily pressing, but they were clicking on all cylinders.
Yes.
That's what I need to see tomorrow night. And we could argue that this is the biggest regular season game for the Kings in a couple of decades, maybe, like, since the Lakers and Kings rivalry. And so this is one of those, we're going to talk about it coming up next with high flyer Henry Turner. But this is almost a must win. This isn't a must feel good kind of game.
Right.
Like if you play them tough and lose, you know what, you still come out feeling good. No, you need to get a win tomorrow against these guys.
Yeah. And that's something we talked about in the first crosstalk this morning with Carmichael Dave. He was asking us, like, it feels a little crazy to say must win because it is a regular season game. And, at the end of the day, they can still maybe make the knockout round if they don't win. But for all intents and purposes, it is must win for all of the emotions heading into the game, for what it means mentally, and for them to not also, again, lose the season series against the Warriors already. There's so many reasons why it's just, like Alan said up top, like this means so much for the Kings that you just hope that they can rise to the occasion and meet it, because that's something last year that was a problem when it came to clinching the playoff spot. And it brought up a question of, do the Kings have a problem in these clutch moments? They lost to San Antonio last year in Golden One Center. They lose to Minnesota last year to clinch it in Golden One Center. Can they rise to the occasion for this really, really big game? I think is a really interesting thing to look out for tomorrow. And
it's a little brother, big brother kind of thing too, right? And the Warriors are the big brothers, and if you can't get over the hump, like eventually the little brother got to rise up and say enough. Enough is enough. I'm going to beat you. And if they don't do it tomorrow, there's no excuses. Our boy Keegan Murray, he's back at practice. I'm hoping he plays tomorrow. I mean, why are you giving me that look, High Flyer? Why he's jumping in? He walk in like Debo like that. What you got? It's a must win, High Flyer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in the full scheme of things, why Big Perm on me like this?
I know you just walked in.
Why Big Perm on me like this? He saw it already. But, you guys are absolutely right, man. I mean, it's a must win for the Kings. And I do see it as the passing of the torch.
Mm-hmm.
I do see it as passing the torch. I mean, you think about it, okay, Steph, Clay, and Draymond, keep it 100. They're on their last dance.
Mm-hmm.
And now you got this New Jack team, Sacramento Kings, with Domantas Sabonis and the New Jack up-and-coming point guard, De'Aaron Fox. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to get where the big brothers are, right? Mm-hmm. But Steph, Clay, and Draymond are still saying, okay, yeah, you guys are that team, but we still here.
Right.
So, yeah, it's going to be a rumble in the jungle, and it's been that way ever since Game 7.
Yeah.
It started all the way in Game 7 when they had to give the Kings their respect. Now, I'm not saying they look at Sacramento Kings saying, oh, well, they're championship bound, but they do know, yo, we took y'all to 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got to show up, too.
They have to.
The Warriors got to show up.
High Flyer, one thing that we've been talking about, and when I was out in the Bay before the Warriors moved, Roracle, and how crazy as Oracle was, how loud it was, I would sit there and we would have conversation. I thought, sometimes the team wants to get that place rocking so bad that when they start rolling, here comes a stupid heat check or something like that. So to bring it back to Golden One Center and talking to Draper about maybe pressing a little bit when it's rocking in Golden One, I guess, is it good to have a guy like De'Aaron Fox that's kind of that calm, cool, collected player? Because when Golden One gets rocking and you're trying to just put the avalanche on that team, then all of a sudden you get a shot that you shouldn't take, or you get Kevin Huerter taking something early in the shot clock. How can you speak to, it's never a bad thing to have that home crowd, but sometimes you press because you want them to react.
Well, let me put it to you like this, just so you get a little pedigree. When you said Roracle, first of all, I'm first team all East Side Oakland, baby. I'm seminary E14 till I die. So I know what you're talking about, about the Coliseum.
The real deal.
But, this thing that we have here with the back in the day, a.k.a. Arco Thunder, that moved over to G1 because that's where it started.
Right.
I think it's such a thing to where the guys feed off of it, because every player that comes here, and even in the bad times, they get this team behind them. They know that this city loves this team. Now, as far as when you get up and you get it fired up, I think that motivates each and every last one of our players. And it starts with De'Aaron Fox because he's the longest tenured King. And believe me, De'Aaron went through some lean years early on.
Yeah.
So, it's a whole different feeling when you come from Kentucky and all you used to is winning. Your AAU team just won. You went to Kentucky, you spent 1 year, y'all won, dominated. Then all of a sudden you get drafted by the Sacramento Kings and y'all win 18 games. You're like, whoa, wait a minute.
Right.
Wait a minute, this ain't right.
Yeah.
But then you see this city still supports you. They don't get down on you. They don't dog you. They don't say throw you away. So I'm talking about specifically De'Aaron Fox because he had to roll through all of that and deal with and understood, we kind of stink, but this city is still with us.
Yeah.
And now the good times is here. And when that place gets to rocking, man, I really think they appreciate that, and they won't play no other way for the city.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, they said last year they relied so much on the fans that it was almost to their detriment defensively. They were like, we almost didn't bring it defensively because we believed that the crowd would feed off, we would get energy from the crowd. And, I think that they've been in enough games also in Golden One Center to where I feel like they understand what they're walking into. After that game 1 and 2 last year of the playoff series, I don't know if anything will ever feel like too big of a moment or too crazy of an atmosphere. So I agree. I think the Kings, if anything, they've learned how to kind of get to the other side of using the home court advantage to their advantage. They're 5-1 at home this year. Last year, I think they were only a couple games above 500 at home. So it seems like they finally utilized the crowd to their advantage.
Have you guys heard what Mike Brown has been preaching to these guys from day one? Besides the defense, the next thing Mike Brown has been preaching is we did something special on the road last year. They were able to win. They were able to win convincingly. He said, now, this is a guy who done been to the mountaintop. Mike Brown knows exactly what it takes to win because he's been there so many times. He's telling this team this year, if you guys are not dominant on G1, we're not going nowhere. Because in order for you to get to where they need to be, you have to be dominant in your building.
I mean, you look at like the Warriors last year that they pretty much rode off of being great last year. They won, or they only lost 5 games at home last year, and that's pretty much the only reason they were able to be in the playoffs. Like, it's huge to protect home court, and especially come playoff time, like home court advantage matters less and less. If you can keep home court advantage to meaning something, at least here in Sacramento, that's massive. That can help you get through a couple rounds of the playoffs, man.
Right. And when you talk about De'Aaron Fox and the fact that we believe that he is an MVP candidate, right? So obviously, if we're just calling a spade and being in the media, we got to be honest with ourselves to say that it is about stats and it is about numbers, but it's also about narratives and storylines. So can we sit here and say, would you agree with me, Draper, and Chris as well, that it means something for De'Aaron Fox to ball out in a game like tomorrow night, maybe more than it does, he put up these crazy numbers on NBA League Pass.
Right, for sure. And I take it back to the playoffs. He was the best player through those first 3-4 games in the playoffs on either side. He outplayed Steph Curry before he got the finger injury. Now tomorrow's game's on TNT, national television. You're going against Steph Curry. The thing that upsets me the most, and you guys might have saw this, NBA.com had their MVP ladder. And it was the usual suspects, the Lukas, the Embiids, the Jokic. Those were their top 3. And I'm like, are we not witnessing what's happening here in Sacramento and what De'Aaron Fox is doing? And so I think it takes a game like that tomorrow on national TV against an opponent like Golden State to get it done. Think about it. Friday's game, he outdueled Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards, one of the game's greatest players, best players right now.
He's on that MVP ladder.
He's on that MVP ladder. That was on ESPN also. Then tomorrow, that's TNT. So every game on national TV, and I'm not talking NBA TV. That's different. That's different. I'm talking about when you got the top announcers, the top spot in the league on TV, and your guy gets it done. It's just going to be hard, though. Let's keep it real, guys. It's unless the Kings are a top 2 seed, something like that, it's going to be hard for De'Aaron Fox to get the love he deserves.
Yeah, but this is
what you got to do, right?
This is the path
that you have to do. Yes,
it definitely.
You still giving me that look? Dog, we got 2.5 hours together. I ain't gonna be doing that.
Okay.
I don't let my kids give me that look. I ain't gonna let you give me that look. I'm just saying.
Check this out. I'm gonna talk to you 2 good brothers right here. I got 4 hours to beat up her.
There you go. Well, make sure that you listen into The Drive, guys, with Kyle Draper and Henry Turner, the High Flyer. Thank you for listening to Stiles and Watkins. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sactown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco!
It's all on his shoulders. Drops, rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long